Oh, here we go.
Hell yeah.
Hi, Corey.
Hi, buddy.
How are you?
Good, you?
Doing great. Very excited. Doing a
Same here.
very last minute fingernail painting. I was in the shower and shaving and scrubbing my balls so they smell good for you and all that fun jazz.
Ooh, I wish I could smell them.
Use your imagination. Whatever the first sense you thought of, do not change it. That is it.
Roses.
Yeah.
Rosemary.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
rosemary.
Yes, my balls do smell like roses and rosemary.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes. I took Natalie to breakfast and then we went and got couples massages. And then I took her to get our nails done. And then I came home and ate sushi off her naked body. So it was a pretty good day.
That's a good day.
That's a good
It was,
day.
it was a really good day, yeah.
That beats my day yesterday. Oof.
Yeah.
It was a rough one, man.
I
Haley,
think what happened yesterday.
oh, dude, she took 2 edibles and threw up in my passenger seat.
Oh,
Oh, all over.
Yes.
I mean,
Ah,
I mean, into crevices you can't get out.
no.
that's the
Oh
worst.
yeah. Oh, dude, absolutely the worst. I just had to laugh. I sat there. I pulled over into some random person's driveway, and I'm like, okay, open the door, and she's just like, just everywhere. I'm like, okay.
I love when people vomit. I think it's the funniest thing ever. Yeah, Cody and I have wanted this for a very long time, so we're happy that we're able to do this together finally.
Fuck yeah.
Wait, Cody and you? Am I getting married? I'm getting
Yeah, obviously you and I are getting married. We already have people in our comment section that really ship you and I together.
Oh, very good.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
That's my
Good
polite way
match.
of them. Yeah, that's my polite way of saying that people are saying very gay things about us in a very negative way.
Super
But it's
gay.
all right because we're homosexual is what I tell them.
I just gobble.
It's always okay to kiss the homies goodnight.
Yeah, that's all.
Exactly, yeah.
Just my girlfriend and his fiance. Those are just facades, man. Like
They're just
this
beards.
whole band is just a facade. It's just a way for us to like get together without people questioning it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first song that I wrote, Lipstick and Gasoline, those lyrics, they're actually about Cody, me telling him that I wanted to experiment with more things in our relationship. I don't want him to just be another one-trick pony. All right?
Incoming message. Incoming message.
Hey dudes, it's Jeff the Alien coming to you from outer space, and you're listening to the Weird Minds podcast hosted by my boy, Corey Hollow. Enjoy the show.
Yeah, fantastic. Hi, everybody.
Fantastic.
Yeah, my name is Gavin Kerr. I'm the lead singer of the band Kissing Lilith. Cody.
My name is Gavin Kerr. I'm also the vocalist of Kissing Lilith.
We're all Gavin Kerr.
All Gavin
We
Kerr.
are Gavin Kerr.
This is just Gavin Kerr with different skins, like if you play Smash Bros. And you play
Yeah.
So it's the loading screen for character selection.
Yes.
Exactly.
Just my camera a little awesome.
Alright.
But yeah, so Lipstick and Gasoline, what would you like to know about it?
Everything and anything. What was the process of writing it? What's it about?
Cody, you want to start with the instrumental before I take the stage?
Yeah, sips coffee indiscriminately. Corey, we have video.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Well, good. Now everybody can see me naked. Wonderful. So the process of writing the song, most of the time in all music projects that I've been with, I write the entire arrangement ahead of time. So I'll hear something in my head. I'll run to one of the guitars that are placed randomly in the house. I'll just grab it and like give everybody a dirty look and just be like, give me an hour. And then I'll just lay down an idea. I'll put it down into voice memos in my phone and just be like, that's a cool riff. I don't have the rest of it yet. I'll just sit down with it. So this one was pretty much just like the rest of those. I came up with this idea while I was in Ozolith, before Gavin and I had actually started anything. So I had this riff just kind of sitting in my library. And when Gavin and I decided to make Kissing Lilith an actual thing, I had it ready. I'm like, hey, what do you think of this? And I sent it to him. And he's like, yeah.
Fuck yeah.
It was
Yeah.
really quick. It's not like the rest of the ones. The rest of them, he's had a lot more input when I write ideas. But that's just kind of how my brain works. I just pop them out and just I'll work on them later, and then we'll piece them together. I really like the idea of rough drafting before I send them anything.
Hell yeah.
Well, I
Gavin,
think
are
the
you playing
really
guitar with it or bass or both?
I'm not. No, I'm just singing in this project.
Okay, hell yeah.
Yeah. It's very nice to just be the front man again of a project. I haven't done that since Dying Desolation, and even that's I got a dog here who wants some loving. Um, but yeah, it's really nice because when I was in Dying Desolation, when I first started in the band, I was a singer and the bassist, and then we found Simon, and I became just a singer, and that was just so liberating and freeing to do. And then when I was in Ghost Static, I was the bassist, which was really cool. It was a different experience. But I definitely am a frontman and a lead singer at heart. And while I do enjoy playing instruments, I also enjoy running into the crowd and climbing on things and just really just taking control of the stage and the
Yeah,
show
hell
when
yeah.
I'm there. I think going back to what Cody was saying, though, the really cool thing about this specific project and him and I writing together is we got to experiment writing together. And okay, buddy, you need to go lay down. Caesar, go lay down. Good boy.
Caesar.
But the cool thing is we got to experience writing together with each other before we formed Kissing Lilith because I auditioned to be the lead singer of the band Lilith, and Cody sent me 5 tracks that they already had done to write lyrics for. So I sort of got to get a feel for how he likes to write. He got a feel for how I like to write, and afterwards they end up going a different route. But Cody reached out to me saying, "Hey, I would still really like to work with you," which was it was extremely empowering and humbling, and I'm very grateful for it because I was fired from Dying Distillation. They wanted to find someone better, better fit for them, is what they said. I was fired for Ghost Static again for essentially not being good enough. I was told that I was too
Which
young
never
and
made sense to me,
I was told that I
I will
was too
say.
young and inexperienced to go to the next level with them by the
But
lead singer.
what level have they gone up to?
I don't know. I don't follow them, so I don't know what they've been up to.
They have been up to
Um,
nothing.
Gotcha. Well, I mean that's their prerogative. That's their business. Like I said, I don't follow them anymore. But to have two bands that's back to back, I was in Desolation for 3 years, and I was in Ghost Rider for 3 years, and for both of them to end with basically telling, "Hey, you don't make the cut anymore." And then for Cody, who's probably one of, if not the most talented musicians I know, in person, just not even on a skill level or just a skill level, but a knowledge level. He went to college for jazz music. He speaks fluent music theory. So to have him say, "Hey, I want to work with you," and then not only that, he sent me like 5 different guitar tracks probably a week later, and me saying, "Oh shit, he's serious about this," was just it's such an amazing experience and such a life-changing thing to my self-esteem. I stopped every time that I got fired from band. I stopped singing as much. I stopped writing as much because I just didn't have that self-esteem anymore. And he really gave that back to me.
That's
So we
awesome.
had some, yeah. I mean, it really is. It's been amazing, and I really am grateful for that, Cody. Um, so to write with each other for Ozolith, and then to get together to write for Kissing Lilith, we started to go in a similar direction as Ozolith because that's what we were both used to writing with each other was this like Motley Crue kind of classic rock, sex, drugs, and rock and roll direction that I was looking to take the band in. I think Cody was looking to take the band in as far as the feel, but we just very naturally kind of fell into more of a I guess like a Tool, System of a Down, sort of Chevelle kind of feel that
Yeah.
we're in now, where it's heavier, it's about more serious topics, it's about it's becoming more than what we thought it was going to be. And Cody's been really awesome with sending me guitar tracks. He'll send me like 5 different guitar tracks in a week. And then I just go through and I'll be like, you know what? This is the one that I'm feeling the most. And he'll say, awesome, let's just focus on that. With Lipstick and Gasoline specifically, I had written, I think we had like 3 or 4 songs written out for Kissing Lilith, but didn't have a specific direction we were going in yet. So it was basically, let's just keep writing songs, and whatever is the best, that's what we're going to stick with, and that's going to be the foundation of our sound.
Hell yeah.
And Lipstick and Gasoline was that. I remember listening to the guitar tracks, all of them, over and over again while I'm cleaning the house, I'm driving to work, every time just going through and listening to them, and listening to the Lipstick and Gasoline one, and I just came up with that chorus in the car. And I was like, oh, I like that. I really like that. and like, oh, what can I do with that? And then as soon as I had it, I just started screaming it in the car, and I got my phone and I went to the voice memos, and I just did it as loud as I could, as quick as I could, and I sent it over to Cody. I'm like, this is the idea, this is what I'm thinking right now. Let's get it fleshed out. And he's like, all right, great. And this was actually one of the points when I gained tremendous respect for Cody. It wasn't so much his knowledge and everything, it was how he went about the writing process. Because I remember I got to his house after I wrote the lyrics. We demoed out Lipstick and Gasoline. I looked at him and said, hey, do you want to see this other song that I wrote from one of your guitar tracks? I got the lyrics all ready and everything. And he goes, no. And just very bluntly like that. I was like, oh, okay. He goes, no, I just really want to focus on what we're doing right now. I'm like, oh, yeah, all right, great. And just Cody's ability to set these boundaries with himself and with me, and then also to give me constructive criticism by saying, there are times that I'm not good enough in the studio, or this take wasn't right, or the way that I wrote these lyrics, this melody didn't quite cut, and he's done a great job at saying, hey, I like this idea. Let's take this and shift it over here. And that's kind of where we've gotten into as far as the writing process goes.
Sorry,
Kitty.
I wanted to say hi.
Yeah. But so Lipstick and Gasoline specifically it's about a specific ex that if you know her, you know her. I don't have any like fear of being sued. I don't think she has any grounds to sue me
I feel
about
like
making the song about her. But if you know her, you know her. And
I gotta say, when I first heard you didn't have to, you could have put just a no caption anything on that song when you first posted it. And first of all, the riff and and your vocals together, I was just instantly headbanging. My neck hurt for like 2 days afterwards.
thank you, man. Thank you.
But
It's catchy.
I knew instantly, and I was like, oh my god, I love him. You are so fucking ballsy. I was like, yes, fucking go, Gavin.
Well, so I don't know how many people actually know the story of Pay Attention. I posted it a few times on our like posts, like in different video clips. You know how you'll see like on TikTok, it would be a story over a bunch of pictures or story on a video. I tried doing that to get people to like get into it and read it and stuff and see what the story was about, and also see if I catch people's attention, because it is a crazy story. Essentially, my one ex, she had faked a pregnancy for 8 months. So we weren't living together, so I didn't know, and I was staying away from her for reasons I'll go into shortly. She bought a fake stomach off of Amazon. She held a baby shower with friends and family of ours who got her expensive gifts that I have no idea what happened to those. And then the day after the shower, she lost it. And then she invited me to come to the hospital with her to have it removed. And I said yes, because I knew that I knew that she was never pregnant, because I had texts from friends of hers asking her to help her lie about it. And
Okay,
why
would she do that? That is so fucked up.
Because when we were still living together, before I left the house, when we were still living together, she was going to doctor's appointments, and I kept trying to go, and every time I tried to go, she'd start a fight. And it got to the point where I was just like, listen, I just want to be there to support you and our child, and I just really want to be there. Can we please go together? I don't want to fight or anything. And on the way there, she got a call from her quote unquote doctor saying, hey, we double scheduled or something like that, or there was some issue with it. Well, her payment was a big issue because she wasn't paying the doctors yet. She couldn't see them, which is not how that works at all.
Yeah.
But basically, it got canceled halfway. Then we had to turn around, and I got a message, or after like towards the end of all this, I got a screenshot of one of her ex-friends showing her texting her friend saying, hey, can you give me a call saying that my appointment is canceled? I already changed your name in my contact. And so it's this huge elaborate thing to essentially try to trap me and say there, because there were points where even though we were split up, we were still living together, we're still sleeping in the same room, so we're still sleeping together, and her hope was that she would get actually pregnant, and then I would have been trapped with her. But she also tried to get me to sign a contract saying that she was going to be the manager of all my music and anything that I did musically by impersonating House of Blues representatives.
That's
And
illegal.
insane. Yeah. I can't remember the guys' names. Cody, I think you know the one dude, don't you?
Yeah, I know Barry Gable personally. He would never
Yes.
ever reach out
Yes.
to anything because he has nothing to do with that.
Yeah. So she was trying to she was using fake emails and fake phone numbers, and she said that she had gotten in contact with them for me and sent them my demo and that they really liked it. And basically this whole thing had me just as chasing just a wild goose chase for months basically. So I'm trying to figure out who these people are. I'm trying to get in contact with them. I'm trying to get on meetings with them. Like I went out to 4 different meetings just by myself because they didn't exist. And it was absolutely insane.
That
All
is
these
so
things that
fucked
she
up.
did. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And but she invited me to go to have the baby quote unquote removed, the deceased fetus. And I said yes, because I knew that it never existed, and I knew that she was expecting me to say no. And every week it got pushed back. It got pushed back for 3 weeks, which you'll go into septic shock and you'll die after a few days,
Yeah.
having that in you. And so I ended up having to, what I did is I called the police to have a wellness check. I called non-emergency to have a wellness check, said, hey, I'm very concerned. This is why this person is saying blah 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 blah. That they're pregnant and that they've lost the child, and I want to make sure that they're okay because they're not getting medical attention. They should be dying right now. And even the police, they thought that I was prank calling. They're like, that this is illegal. I'm like, no, this is very serious. I'm very serious. They're like, yeah, this is impossible though. You're a moron for believing this woman. I was like, in my mind, I'm like, I know, but I don't really believe her, but I can't tell you that I don't really believe her
You're
because
my way of catching her and calling her out.
yeah, yeah. So just believe that I'm an idiot. Like but that's essentially where this song, Lipstick and Gasoline, came from, was just this person who essentially just almost ruined my life. I had to put my dog down that I had from a puppy because she took him for a walk apparently, and he bit someone on the walk, but I never heard anything about it. However, he was getting old and he snapped at one of the neighbor kids who were playing by the fence, so I couldn't take that risk if he was getting aggressive and everything. And you are
That's
getting
so fucked
aggressive.
up. That's so
Yeah,
yeah. I'm so glad you got
this
away
is what
from
I'm
her.
dealing with right now.
Hi, bumpers.
He is being very aggressive. I love you.
Adorable.
Lay down. It was oh, come on. Ah, good boy. So I had to deal with that. I had to move out of my childhood home because she wouldn't leave. Every time that we got a place lined up for her, something happened that it just got messed up and she couldn't leave anymore. So we had to I had to leave my childhood home so that way she would have to leave and get evicted essentially. Um, I moved to a new place. I moved to East Cleveland, and I ended up just restarting my life from scratch. But there was a time period where I was just kind of not homeless because I had a place to live, but I didn't have like my place. I was staying with family friends for a while, and very grateful for those who helped me until I got back on my feet. But it's a very interesting and just kind of life-changing journey.
Yeah, it is insane. I am so glad you got away from her.
Oh my God, I am too. I heard she's pregnant again through the grapevine, which good for her if that's real. I wish that guy best of luck. I don't know. I wish him nothing but the best. I wrote my song. I told her
your
never
peace.
comment. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I don't want them to have miserable lives. I really don't.
You can eat bread, but not at my table, and I don't want to see it.
Exactly. Yeah, I like that. I like that. You can eat bread, but not at my table. Yeah.
So with this new single, I remember you guys messaging me about the new single. Can you guys talk about the new single?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cody.
What would you like to know?
Well, I haven't heard it yet. Or no, I have. It's the one you guys been posting, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
More
yeah.
than worth it.
Yeah. So is the same kind of process musically wise? You had a riff that you kind of came up with, and then you slowly wrote the lyrics to it.
This one was a little more pieced out with Gavin. So I was in bed, just chugging along ideas because we already had 2 or 3 songs already written that we were just going to roll with. But I came up with this riff because I was listening to a lot of Lamb of God, and I'm like, okay, I want to write something that's got a little movement, a lot of dotted eighths that sound like they're triplets because everyone thinks they're triplets, but they're not. Just more musically interesting pieces compared to the first one, where the first one's very static. It's a lot of just straight eighths, and I musically wanted to be a little more stimulated. So I came up with this in bed, and I'm like, well, that's cool. I'll throw it to him because it might be a little too heavy for what we're going. And he sent it, I sent it to Gavin, and he immediately says like, no, this is the next song. It's like I've already got an idea.
Yeah.
Like, sweet. So this one came together very quickly, because it was around the time, like right before I left Ozolith. And I sent it to him. I'm like, okay, we can knock this out. And I think within like 3-4 weeks of me sending it to him, I think we were in the studio. And
Yeah.
we just hashed it out. It was really quick. It was a different process recording wise. Everything was in a live room, as opposed to the last one where everything was in either an ISO booth or was in the box. So we used MIDI for the first song. This was real drums in the second one, which I like.
I was
but
just about to ask that question. How do you guys go about getting the drums process sides of the songs done?
It's been different both times. The first one was MIDI, and I liked how tight everything sounded, and how bottom heavy a lot of the drums were. In the live tracking, there was a lot of air. The cymbals, I felt they were kind of washing out a little bit. So I mean, in a rock context, because the engineer that we went to for this song, I worked with previous projects, and in a rock context, I was very happy. I felt that for what we're doing with Kissing Lilith, not that I was disappointed. It's a very good mix, but when I'm listening back to it, I'm like, there's too much top end. There's too much top end here. It's distracting me from what I'm looking for in a drums in a metal context. So like when I'm listening to more modern bands, and Sleep Token has been a huge influence on how I like to approach production now, because they're kind of the golden standard, especially when you're trying to get into more ethereal sounding things and layers.
As a producer, do you find it like hard to work with other engineers when you're recording in a studio?
No, very infrequently. Most of the time, I kind of just let them do their thing. Like I was a producer for years, and it's not my strongest suit. I'm definitely a musician before I'm a producer or an engineer. So I've got ideas, and I like to go to people that have the proper experience, who've been recording as long as I've been playing. So like I've been playing,
gotcha.
15 years. If they've been producing for 15 years, then they probably know a lot more than I do, and I should shut up, let them do their thing. And if I have suggestions, like a lot of times it'll come down to little things like, sample replaces here or there, how we like to approach pitch adjustments, time aligning, which with Kissing Lilith, I don't think we've quantized a single thing, which is kind of a really
That's impressive. Yeah, that's awesome.
that's a really cool. I don't want to say bragging, right, but it's very cool that we have not had anything quantized yet, and everything that you're hearing on the record is exactly how it was played. So that's a great achievement for the two drummers that we've had so far. Fantastic session drummers that we've had so far. Bradley Knapp, and then
Jordan Gannon.
Yeah,
Jordan Gannon.
Yeah, Jordan did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Both. I would love to see if we could work with them in the future on different songs. But as far as the production process goes, everyone we've worked with has been real top notch. I have no complaints. It's going to be flavor at this point. It's going to be just, I prefer a certain kind of sound over another certain kind of sound.
Gotcha,
but
yeah.
Very impressed with everybody we've worked with.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, no, it really has been two completely different experiences, doing Lipstick and Gasoline versus More Than Worth It. Not only writing wise, but also recording wise, like we said, or like Cody said, we did have Jordan doing the MIDI drums, and then I remember we got into the studio and we busted the whole thing out in probably like what, 8 hours, 7 hours,
six and a half. We were there
6.5, yeah, 6.5 hours. We did everything because we just had so much. We had so much prepared prior to going there. That's one thing that we really try to demo out as much as possible before getting into the studio, so we can really optimize our time while we're there. We enjoy having fun in the studio, but we're also not the people who show up and just drink and smoke and waste an entire day just dicking around trying to figure out what the song's going to sound like. When we get there, we know what 90% of the song is already, if not more of that. And then
I'm sorry.
And then doing More Than Worth It, having the live drums, figuring that out. We also were testing drums with another drummer who might end up trying to audition later when we hold open auditions. We have a plan right now. We'll tell you about that later. Plan on the songs we're going to release and getting the rest of the members in the band. But it was a really new experience doing the live room, working with Jeff again, phenomenal engineer, very, very talented, really awesome setup that he has, very, very nice, very comfortable. Uh, it took a little bit, but it did take a few days because I had to go back and I had to re-record some stuff. Cody wanted to re-record some things. We had to redo the drums eventually. So it was a lot of learning experiences that we'll be able to take into the next studio that we go into. As far as the lyrics go, this was something I listened to a lot of people might judge me this. I don't give a fuck. I listened to a lot of Five Finger Death Punch
Fuck
when
it.
I was like, yeah, when I was like 13, 13
same,
to
yeah.
16, I was like, oh yeah, these guys are the shit. I'm not just getting into the gym, doing whatever I was.
No matter,
And
no
I
matter what
thought,
people can say about them, their music videos were always badass as fuck.
oh, music videos are awesome. Yeah, did you see the one they did during COVID when they were just walking around during the basically American wasteland?
No.
Oh, it was awesome. Yeah, they did a whole music video cover where they're walking through, I think it was Vegas, and the whole place is just completely barren. There's nobody out there because it was
My
during lockdown.
my favorite one is where they're just smashing a bunch of fucking shit together and they're just destroying every room and building they're in.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's super fun. So I had that in mind. I had like just kind of them in general in mind, and then I also had Slipknot's what is it? Pulse of the Maggots in
Mm.
mind. And I was just trying to think, I was like, all right, that's what's something like lipstick and gasoline, like a big topic that is very hits home to me that I want to express and talk about. And it was being not only just fired from Ghost Act, but being fired from Dying Desolation, being an artist in general, being told, hey, so what do you really want to do with your life? Hey, that's not going to work out, right? Like, oh, that's great. What's your backup plan? Just these kind of backhanded comments or just downright just putting me down because this is what I want to do with my life. And so that's what the song ends up being about. Um, it really is an homage to anybody who has tried to create something, either a something that is inspired off of another thing or something that they're trying to be original and anyone who is an artist or creator in general who's just been told you shouldn't do that because you suck. You shouldn't do that because it's pointless. You shouldn't do that because it's not worth it, because you're not worth it, because you're
amazing,
not
yeah.
good enough.
And to interject on that for a second, anybody that is out there that is a creator that needs to dog another person or isn't willing to work with them, they are usually the problem. And I will say this, as far as like artist development goes, when I started with Gavin, was he the best vocalist in Cleveland? No. But the thing that he has over the other vocalists is that he is willing to admit his faults and he is willing to improve continuously. Either be it through coaching that he gets from other, national level vocalists, or whether he's just sitting with me and we are piecing together a melody on piano, and he's
Okay,
very
yeah.
receptive to that. So I would say to any of his previous band members or anyone that has worked with him, I can more than likely attest that you're the problem, because I have not had a single problem with this guy. He's sat down and we've written songs, on a weekly basis.
Yeah, no, the first time my band was ever in the studio, Gavin was there, and before I went in to do vocals, I asked him, "Hey, what tips and stuff that you had?" And I've followed that same exact advice every time I go back in the studio since then.
I
Right.
appreciate that. I remember having that conversation. That was fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't hold too much or really any animosity towards my first band because we were 17, we were kids and we were starting to get popular as far as like local standards go, and I think that just became like the fear of, oh, if we do the wrong thing now, everyone's gonna hate us and we're gonna lose all of our progress. So I understand that. Um, but as far as the last band, how the lead singer went about it, I just really have no respect for him at all whatsoever. He sent me a text firing me, and then I tried calling him, and it took me probably 3 days of calling him to finally get a hold of him, and it just put a really awful taste in my mouth for who
Yeah,
I thought he was as a person versus who he really is.
every time they would say something, I'm like, I used to run your guys' sound when you were
Yeah.
playing with them, and I'm like, I hear everything crystal clear, and I'm like, you've never made a single mistake any show.
Oh, I know that's not true. I know I made plenty of mistakes
But no, but it's
on
nothing.
bass.
Nothing that was like what I'm saying is like nothing was visibly or audibly noticeable. Nothing that I
Yeah,
would say was
I
I would deem you as a bad musician. And like, because I've watched you breathe fire while playing bass and slay.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
it
I
always
definitely
pissed me
made.
off every time they would say shit. I'm like, you guys are such douchebags.
Yeah, well, I mean, the majority of the band, you know, like Todd's really cool. The guitarist, really down to earth guy. The other two members, the drummer and the bassist, I don't really know them at all that well. We would change people so often that it kind of got hard to get to know people after a while. And then, yeah, the lead singer, you know, it's mostly just an ego thing at that point. That's
Yeah.
really what it came down to. But I definitely made mistakes when playing live. But nothing that I felt would like ruin the experience. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
I never once had anybody come up to me and say, "Hey, you know, you fucked up that note. Hey, you know, you were off by a conter on this one beat." Like
Yeah.
it was always, "Oh, I loved your energy. Oh my God, you were so much fun to watch. Oh, I like how you got in the crowd. Oh, I loved how you breathed fire." Like it was always something.
You brought the energy to when they played shows.
I tried. I really did try, and I had fun while it lasted, and I'm very excited to bring that energy and more to Kissing Lilith shows,
Are
especially
you
now that I don't have a bass.
are you gonna breathe fire in Kissing Lilith?
Oh, so I've had every part of my body set on fire.
Yes.
Let me rephrase that. Let me restate that. I have had every part of my body set on fire.
Fuck yeah.
Absolutely, there's going to be pyrotechnics as long as the place allows it. Yeah, there will be some kind of pyrotechnics. There will be pyrotechnics. I would love to have dancers at some point if we could find them. I just want to have an experience.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that I hate going to local shows is I've seen so many unbelievably talented musicians that are talented beyond my comprehension. Like watching them and thinking I will never be as talented as that as far as playing an instrument or singing goes. But they're so fucking boring to watch. And it just kills me because I'm like, wow, I'd really rather just be at the bar right now or paying attention to the people around me in the pit than watching them play. You know, there was one band, I don't remember the name of them. There was a band that was playing and they had monitor screens playing their music videos on them and visualizers. Super cool idea. Loved it. That's all I looked at because they were just standing there doing nothing. You know, that's why, like, even right now, I'll show you. You know, I'm dressed, even though you can't see, I'm dressed in one of the outfits that are in our photo shoot that we'll be wearing later.
Yeah.
Cody's in a very dark environment, but he's doing the same because I feel like as part of an entertainer, part of a being a musician, an artist is being just that, an artist and a musician.
You're
You know,
an
there's
entertainer first.
yeah,
You're always
yeah,
an entertainer first, and that's the thing that a lot of these bands keep missing the mark. And it's unfortunate because I think a lot of the modern metal bands that are out there, a lot of the music that they're writing stems from an insecurity of I need to be as good as Tim Henson, and that's great. You can play like Polyphia, but I'd rather go watch Van Halen.
Yep. No, I
And
agree. I
that's
agree completely.
and it's
yeah.
it's unfortunate, man. Like a lot of musicians don't share this idea that Gavin and I have. Like when I was in Ozolith, and I will say, Brad and Adam, fantastic entertainers. Adam, as a bass player, he was always moving on the stage. Would never have anything bad to say about him. He did a fantastic job. Same with Brad, lots of energy. He was like Neil Peart. And that's why I wanted to bring Gavin into that band. So it's like, okay, well, we got the guy that is a wannabe Van Halen. We got the guy that wants to be Les Claypool. We got Neil Peart. Let's just find some lunatic to run around on stage, and the rest is there. I always got compliments from people that it was a fun show. No one cares how fast your solo is, dude. No one cares. No one knows what your note is. No one knows what a Lydian mode is. They don't care. They don't care what your pedal board looks like. They don't care if you have an amp or if you have a modeler. They don't.
They care about how you make them feel.
Exactly. That's all music is, man. It's like, how does it make you feel? Does it make you want to get up and run laps? Or does it make you want to sit there and just exist? Like it's not enough. I see a lot of bands to this day, and it's like, okay, I don't get it. I don't know why you want to be on stage other than bragging rights. Like if it doesn't scream to you that I want to be on stage and be an entertainer, I just don't get it why you're putting all this money and
Effort and work, yeah.
energy
Yeah.
into something that it obviously shows you don't really care about anything except the ego trip that comes with it.
Well,
And that's
for me wise, I'm like, how do you listen to music and not want to move?
right.
Because like for me, anytime I listen to music, I either want to move my head, I want to move my feet, I want to bounce around, I want to do something.
Yeah,
So
no,
I don't
absolutely.
understand how people could just stand like just stand there on stage, and I'm like, do you not enjoy the music you're playing? Like you wrote it.
Right.
You want to feel. That's why we create art. That's why we're musicians,
Yeah.
because it's provoking emotion from people. And the rule that I try to live by, and I really tried to drive this into Ghost Static when I was in it, was if I want to hear something perfectly, I will listen to the record. If I go to a concert, it's because I want a show. The dog's moving the table. Please stop moving the table. You
Oh,
big
okay. I thought I was just like developing rickets. Okay. So
no.
yeah, it's not- okay.
No, no, the dog's moving the table because he wants to sit in my lap.
Okay.
But yeah, if I want to, if I go to a show, I'm there to see a performance. As someone who was in musical theater all throughout middle school and high school and has gone to seen shows on Broadway, bless you, seen shows on Broadway in Chicago and New York and Playhouse Square a whole bunch. He is moving everything right now. There's not an earthquake in my house. I promise you, I'm all right. I want to have an experience when I go to a live show, and that's what I want to bring to our shows. I want to bring experience. One thing that we're going to be doing, and I'm all right saying, so I'm not going to give all of our goodies away. You have to come to the show for that.
Yeah,
But one thing,
stop it. Make them come.
yeah. Well, one thing, I feel like it is a big ego trip doing these live shows, and I want to take away from that a bit, and I want to give some focus to the audience. So I would like to have a photographer at our shows taking pictures of the fans.
Yeah.
And just being able to send that to them via their email or text or however, we'll figure it out. But I want to have like a little like red carpet area kind of like, oh, you're at Kissing Lilith's show. That's insane. That's so awesome. Let me get a picture of you. And then we'll put it on our social media. You can put it on your social media. We'll share it all around. The photographer then gets a whole bunch of extra stuff that they can post on their social media. And instead of it just being hey, come look at us. We're on stage. We're the big sexy bandits. No, we're all here together. This is an event.
it's
This
one big
is
party,
this is a community. Yeah, let's have a fucking blast. Let's rip the roof off this place. Let's make some memories.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, and that's what music used to be. Years and years ago. Like when you look at all of our heroes, you think about all the bands from the 90s, especially. It's just they made music for the sake of that's what they loved doing, and it just was this wonderful cultural movement. And now I don't see that anymore. Like I miss when guys would go up there and realize that, hey, I'm here to entertain these people and give them something different. Like look at Smashing Pumpkins, man. Every time you would see Smashing Pumpkins live, it's a totally different show. It's fantastic.
I saw them I think it was 2 years ago, and it blew my mind.
It's mind blowing.
I did not expect them to be as heavy and as insane as they were.
Right, dude. It's the coolest thing. Or for me, the biggest epiphany I ever had was when I saw Foxy Shazam open for Slash at the House of Blues. Dude, Foxy Shazam is a band from Cincinnati, and they just have banger after banger after banger. Not a lot of people know about them in like mainstream music, but they are a fantastic rock band. That to me was it. I'm like, if the show is not as good as Foxy Shazam, there's no reason to be here. The guy ran like a dog. He ate lit cigarettes. The keyboard player crowd surfed with his keyboard. And the entire time, dude, you don't even care what the song is. And who cares? They put on such a fantastic show. And I'm sitting there, I think I'm like 17 or 18. I'm like, that's what I want to do. Oh. It's such a great thing. And the band that went on before, I'm actually still friends with, which is kind of crazy. You would never think, but Seven Circle Sunrise, they're from Canton.
Okay.
The guitar player and the singer, I still keep in touch with him. But another great example, man. And he's a local guy, but he put on a show. The energy was fantastic. Just mind-blowing, game-changing. And then when Slash went on, Slash killed it. But the rest of his band kind of did what we're saying. They just kind of stood there like they were part of the band. I'm like, well, Slash is awesome because he's the man. And Miles Teller is fantastic. Yeah. But for me to sit there and have more fun watching the opener, Foxy Shazam, because they just put on that magnificent of a performance, than for me to go and see my actual guitar hero, I think that speaks volumes
It speaks loudness.
That's what a show should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're kind of going in that direction. What got you guys into music? Was it going to shows? Was there certain musicians? What got you guys started on this journey you're on?
Guitar Hero.
Okay, hell yeah.
Guitar.
The most honest answer ever, man. It was Guitar Hero 3 and Slash. You saw this dude in the world, and when you're a 13-year-old boy and you see this dude with a top hat and a leather jacket and you can't see his face and he's playing guitar, you're like, that's the coolest thing in the world. And
yeah, I would have to agree with you. I think for me, for vocals, was started on Rock Band.
Yeah.
For me, so first a little side thing. This isn't what got me into music, but I remember getting Guitar Hero 3 because I thought it was going to teach me how to play guitar. It gave me a lot of fun memories. It taught me a lot about it taught me a lot of songs I would never listen to, but it didn't teach me fuck all about playing guitar. I actually tried playing Guitar Hero probably a month ago. Now that I know how to actually play guitar and bass, I tried playing it at the Nostalgia Lounge in Menor, and I fucking suck at it because it's not calibrated perfectly on time. And so I'm listening, trying to play the notes, and I'm missing all of them. I even went in and tried to calibrate it afterwards because you can do that in the settings. And even after I calibrated it, it's still the little gems when they would like line up, it was not lining up with the beats as well as I was. And I every single note I missed. Yeah. Played a song twice. It's like
my mom
garbage.
still has like the Wii version of it, and so she bought rebought all the controllers for it because like our holidays. That's what we used to always like to play with like the family.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there trying to sync them up. I got one, and I think it was like, I think Rock Band 5 or whatever it was. It was like one of the late, like either in a sense more recent to this time ones. And I'm like, but the rest of them, none of them would they were too lagged out. They they couldn't sync for anything.
No, fun games still, fun memories. But so the way that I got into music and entertainment in general, actually at a very young age. So my parents were 17 and 19 when they had me. When mommy and daddy, a long time ago. No, my parents, they were 17 and 19 when they had me, and it was a rocky household to say the least. And I found that one of the ways to stop some of the fighting and the stressing and the crying was to entertain. Immediately I got very addicted to making my parents laugh and making people laugh and their friends laugh. My birth father was still hanging out with high schoolers when I was little, so he was, 21 years old, hanging out with 16-year-olds or whatever. And in my mind, they're all the same age because, I was 3 years old, 4 years old at the time, they're all the same age. So I'm thinking, okay, yeah, this is normal. And I just loved making people laugh. And then I remember when I was in first grade, I got into the school play because we all had to do the school play for my class, and I got the lead role in it. I got the chief boss is what I was, some weird angel thing. I was a Native American chief who took this angel's wings for some reason and then gave them back one by one. Weird concept, it's like a fever dream. But one of the fever dreams I remember.
Did you go to school at like a Midsummer's Dream?
I went to school. It was an elementary school in Tucson, Arizona. I don't remember the name of it, but I wasn't there. I was there for like first grade and then half of second grade. But I remember being there, and I remember two things. I remember one, looking from behind the curtains and seeing my birth father, who had shown up to watch. My mom was working, or maybe she didn't live with us at the time. I don't recall. It's a little fuzzy, but I remember seeing my birth father there, and he threw up the I love you devil horns. I just like felt amazing for that. I felt like I was doing something that was earning that love and that approval and that happiness. And then I remember at the end of the show, everybody clapping for us. And of course, being the narcissistic first grade lead character that I was like, oh, they're clapping for me. and that kind of carried on to where I'm always in my own little world mentally. Now I have wireless headphones that I carry around a lot because if I'm able to, I listen to music with them because it kind of helps me. It helps me keep my mind in check and keep focus on the world by having that music playing. So I remember walking around the schools in the hallways just out loud singing, not like very obnoxiously loud, but loud enough where if you were standing by me, you were probably annoyed. And then in my mind, that was the background music to the movie that was my life. I was a very, very self-absorbed elementary school, middle schooler, which I think most are, so I don't feel terribly bad about it anymore. And then I remember moving schools, and I just really wanted to be in the drama club. I really wanted to be in a play, and they didn't have that yet until middle school. And I got back into it, and I got into choir and band, and I was playing trombone, and I was singing bass in the choir, and I was doing all these different things, and I just was just so addicted to entertaining people. And part of it, I think it really just stems from that sort of childhood trauma of mom and dad are fighting. How can I make them laugh? And that really got fed into when I was in middle school, when my birth father was dating around trying to find a new partner. And I'd go to visit him every winter and every summer. And when they were getting in fights and they're saying nasty things to each other, eventually, he'd look in the mirror of the truck, or he'd turn around and he'd yell at me from the other room and say, Gavin, tell us a fucking joke. And that's what he'd say. He was like, tell us a joke, something to make him laugh. Because I grew up doing that to break the tension. And now the control was out of my hands. It wasn't me doing it to break tension. It was somebody using me to break that tension instead. And eventually I got to the age, probably around 13 years old, where instead of it, the one time instead of telling a joke, I gave some advice like, it sounds like that she's just trying to say this to you and you're not listening and you're hearing this. And then I even went to her, I was like, it sounds like you're hearing this from him, but what he's really trying to say is this. And I got reprimanded. I got yelled at saying, I ain't asking for fucking advice. I told you to say a joke. You're not my therapist. And so it kind of snapped me back to, okay, well, I'm here to entertain. And that's kind of where it's really stemmed from, is this just inner desire to not only just entertain, but just provoke emotion from people. There was a time when I was younger where I became very, very manipulative and very almost evil in a sense, I would say, especially to my younger brother Aiden. We had a very rocky relationship. We're estranged right now, still, unfortunately.
Yeah,
But
I don't know if it's okay to mention, but I ran into him the other day actually.
I hope he's doing well. Yeah, it's all right to mention. I saw him at oh, what is it? Um, CLE Mosh. I saw him there, and I'm sure he did see me. I don't know if he saw my text. I texted him asking if it was okay for me to say hi to him, or if he just wanted to be kind of left alone because it's a very public setting. It's a lot going on, and I wasn't sure if he was busy, and I didn't want to make him uncomfortable, make a scene or anything. So if he does reach out, I'd really appreciate it.
I will say this because I work at Guitar Center now, and
Yeah,
he was up there, and I recognized him by his when I typed in his phone number to pull up his
yeah,
account, and I was like, "Are you by chance?" Because you guys look almost identical.
we've heard that a lot. Yeah.
And I was like, "Are you by chance related to Gavin?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "How do you know?" We've been into multiple music projects together, and he's about to be coming to my podcast, and he's like, "Oh yeah, what podcast?" I'm hoping maybe he'll listen.
Yeah, I hope so too. And if you are listening, Aiden, I really hope you're doing well. And if you want to reach out, my door's always open. Try to make that clear a couple times now. I hope the message is received. Um, I know that you're not the same person that you were when we last met, and I know that I'm not the same person that was, and it would be nice to meet you again and just kind of see how things go. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And if it does, then fantastic.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, so I was mean to him and to other kids, classmates too. I'd manipulate situations where the teacher wouldn't hear me egging somebody on, and I would get kicks out of making other students freak out or getting them in trouble because I just enjoyed being in control and I enjoyed provoking that emotion. And now that I've thankfully grown and recognized that, I still enjoy provoking emotions from people, but not in the sense of trying to hurt or torment. Like we have a song that we're writing, and it's actually gonna be the fourth song that we're doing. I just finished the lyrics the other night. Very excited about them. I almost started crying while singing them, and that's my hope. I hope that this song, the fourth song we release, I hope that it makes people cry. I hope that it makes them hurt, not because I want people to hurt, but because I want people to be able to feel the relief that I feel when I sing the song. I don't want anyone to feel negative for the sake of them feeling negative. I want them to feel some kind of relief from it, some acknowledgments of this emotion is okay to feel as well,
Yeah, that's
and this is a
beautiful.
safe place to feel it.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Thanks.
With the songs you guys are doing, are you guys doing like every single release at a time, like a kind of like a wave of releases, or are you guys doing like an EP or eventual album?
As of now, it's just singles. And that seems to be the trend that's happening with music right now. We can focus a lot more on the arrangement when it's just one at a time. I found in the past when I just write enough material for an album, 3 of them are great, 5 of them are placeholders, really. And for the amount of time that we're spending in a studio and going over these songs, for us at this stage in the project, I can't imagine releasing more than one at a time anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it really doesn't. It doesn't make sense anymore for local bands or even national bands. It doesn't make much sense to release an entire album anymore because of how short people's attention spans are. You know, even a lot of the
Thanks, TikTok.
yeah. Well, even a lot. I mean, even just TikTok, just having the answer to everything in the pocket all the time. You know, like this device has more computing power than the computers we use to send the first man to the moon, and we use it for mostly porn and cat videos. And if we're being honest, probably more porn than cat videos, at least in this group chat. You know, like, it's insane.
It's all penguin videos for me personally.
Penguin videos. Oh, phew.
How do you think I got
Gross.
my mating skills down, sir? I learned how to pebble. Thank you.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Penguins are vile.
Yes, they are. So am I.
Penguins are insane.
Don't they have teeth?
Do they?
Yeah, that's the least of their problems.
Well, no, because I think I've seen
Are
like
they actually
photos
like
of like
really
their...
mean creatures?
No,
Are
I don't think they're
penguins bad?
mean, but I think they have like some like crazy looking like mouths when they open them up.
Yeah, they got crazy teeth. They're also necrophiliacs.
I'm not a penguin anymore. I totally changed this.
And
now.
yeah. They're also extremely pedophilic.
No,
and
no,
on a special
no,
occasion, which is most of the time is special occasions for them, they're pedophilic necromaniacs.
Never mind.
Necrophiliacs.
It was
Yeah.
all about the pebbles.
Yeah.
I was using it as an analogy for whenever my girlfriend.
Penguins.
Here's the thing.
There was
Never mind. This was a horrible
there was a
conversation.
scientist who studied
No, why
penguins.
is anyone
and
studying this?
There was a scientist who studied penguins for like a month or so. What they did was so horrible that he wrote his notes in like ancient Greek or something, or like Latin or something, so the general public could not read it. Insane what penguins do.
Oh, forget this conversation. I'm over this. Are any animals really pure? Are any of them fine, Gavin? Can I use analogies from any of the animal kingdom?
Oh, I mean, if you name an animal, I could probably tell you some horrific facts about it.
We're not going to use animals as analogies anymore.
Yeah,
Guinea pig.
No, just no in general.
I don't know much about guinea pigs. I don't particularly care for or dislike guinea pigs, but I don't know much about them.
They're kind of nasty little die in a year or two.
I mean, there's not many of them unless it's in pet stores, but like native
gross, man.
Native guinea pigs, they're mostly food for other animals.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of them. They live in a very specific climate, like a very specific
What would you
area.
say is the weirdest or craziest animal that you know about?
I know which animal I hate the most.
Which is it?
Koala bears. Koala bears are the worst fucking animal in all of existence. They are the stupidest animal. You know how fucking stupid they are? This is how stupid koala bears are. Their brains are smooth. All right, so you know how brains have the little squiggly parts of them? That's because they're folded so you can have more brain, so you can use more of it and have more knowledge in it. They're fucking smooth. How smooth are they, you ask? Let me tell you how smooth they are. Koala bears are so fucking smooth brain that they will die in a room full of eucalyptus. You know what? They eat only eucalyptus. You know why they die in a room full of eucalyptus? Because if you put a koala bear in a room full of eucalyptus plants, not plants, just the leaves, they will starve to death because they're too fucking stupid to recognize it as food because it is not on the eucalyptus tree. They eat eucalyptus, even though they can't properly digest it. The way they have to digest eucalyptus is by eating their mother's shit sack, the first thing that they eat before they're born, so they can absorb the bacteria, so that way they can consume the eucalyptus, which give them no nutritional value, which is why they sleep all fucking day. They sleep for 22 hours a day, and the 2 hours that they are awake, they just scream and bite, and they spread disease. They have chlamydia. You didn't know that? Yeah, they got chlamydia. How many times do you think some Australian son of a bitch has gone home to his wife after fucking off with some other woman and has gotten chlamydia, gave it to his wife, goes, yeah, sorry, honey, I was there with a koala bear this morning, ran it over, had to carry it on to the other side of the brush. You gotta say, the little guy must have been covered in his own urine because they piss all over themselves. So you have an open wound on your hand or any kind of place, and then you pick up a koala bear that's peed on itself, boom, you have chlamydia. Enjoy that. You know what they do for the environment? Nothing. If we killed all the koala bears right now, we'd have more eucalyptus trees. Oh no, essential oils. What's gonna happen? All right, on top of that, The only other
Gavin,
reason
come back
why
to
people
reality,
enjoy
please.
the only reason
Please.
why people enjoy them is because they think they're cute, and that's why Australia likes them, because they bring in money. They're a money-making machine. They're awful. You can't eat their meat because it's toxic and poisonous. Nothing can eat their meat. They're out of the food chain because they are stupid and they are poisonous and they are garbage animals. I fucking hate koala bears. I've tried so hard to find something redeemable about them. There's nothing about them. They're not even that cute. They got big noses and nasty teeth, and they're mean.
I feel like Cody's heard of this before.
Whoa. No. This is the first for me too, man. Whoa. Gavin, you've got some strong opinions about koala bears.
Our next song is gonna be about how much I fucking hate koala bears.
That's the one that, can we do that for Tim Misney?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because I sent you the song already. So if you just want to go watch koala bears for, he might really like that.
Yeah.
I would listen to a guy just ranting about how much he hates koala bears.
So I think what I just did right now, we should just cut that audio and just throw that over an instrumental track, and that's what we send in.
I'll
No,
send it to you
no
guys
need to
afterwards.
overthink it. Yeah, no need to overthink it. Just that rant right there. That was probably about 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Ooh. You want to start selling you want to start selling utilities? You want to start selling washing machines and dryers, Gavin? Because that was the energy that I had the entire time. Yeah, that was so ants in my eyes, Johnson. I don't know where we were going with that. I'm not gonna lie. But
is your smart car dead? Shove the plug up my ass and let me talk about koala bears for 10 minutes.
That was like the ShamWow fucking commercials.
I had to prep for that. I had to
Yeah, no, I already knew it was I knew it was happening as soon as you went. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great.
Yeah.
So what about you, Cody? What animals do you have strong opinions about?
There's nothing I can do that's gonna top what he just did. Dude, I don't have opinions strong enough for an animal, let alone enough for a 2-minute rant. Jeez, man. I mean, I guess if I have to pick one animal, one filthy, disgusting, mangy, like AIDS-ridden animal, I can't think of anything with as much hate and malice as Gavin has towards koalas. So let's just pick a completely random one for the sake of it. Pigeons.
I like pigeons. Pigeons are cool. You can train pigeons. They're small enough to be trained.
Not going back to the koalas, Gavin. This isn't about you right now. This is about those little birds that Mike Tyson has such an affinity for. But gosh, I love every time he says pigeons. It does something. Maybe I don't hate pigeons because Mike Tyson loves them enough. He had a pet pigeon, so they can't be terrible. I don't know. I love all animals. I don't know. What are the ones that
There's a lot of very interesting colored pigeons. Everyone thinks they like the
definitely
regular
have
New York
the
ones.
yin and yang of energies.
Yeah. And that's what we need. I think that's a big reason why Cody and I work so not even just well, but just very natural together is because we really balance each other. He's very great with the behind the scenes things. He loves paperwork, which blows my mind. He loves music theory. He loves reading about law and shit like that. And then I love to be the center of attention. I love to be in the spotlight. I love to be talking to people, the microphone in hand. That's where I really enjoy being. And so to have Cody to be able to write the instrumental that he does, I definitely could not do this without him, because having him to be able to write this instrumental, to give me the insight and the things that I need to work on that I don't see or hear right away. Like with the drums, when I listen to the drums of Lipstick and Gasoline and I listen to the drums of More Than Worth It, they just sound like drums to me. They sound like good drums. I can acknowledge that. They give me emotion. They make me feel something the way that music should. But I can't break the nitty gritty about like too much high end, like he was mentioning, or like I don't have the ear for that, unfortunately, and he does, and I really do admire and appreciate that. And then for me, what I bring to the table is a lot of the creativity as far as our image goes. And as far as like reaching out and networking with people, like getting a hold of you for this and researching how to use social media. And, that's a big thing that I've really taken on, is I've learned so much about how to run social media, to the point where we have 2 songs out. One of those songs came out, 2 days ago, and we already have a following comparable to majority of the local bands in our area. And not only that, Yeah, and not only that, we're getting engagement, which is awesome. Like we have people from other states commenting, messaging us, right, saying, "Hey, what's the next song coming out? How you guys doing?" We have a guy right now who's a tattoo artist in another state who's drawing up an insanely badass picture of Lilith to
Fuck
be a
yeah.
t-shirt for us.
Fuck yeah.
Like it's so awesome. You
So
know, these people.
what is the meaning behind Kissing Lilith? Who came up with the name?
Hi, that'd be me. Hello. So the way that the name came about was I was trying to think of something. So anytime that I pick a band name, the first thing I think of is, can I imagine this on a list of names with other bands that are already successful? Can I imagine it on a flyer, on a billboard, being said in a commercial? Can I hear, oh yeah, I'm gonna go see Falling in Reverse, 3 Days Grace in this moment and Kissing Lilith. Boom. I can
That
hear
sounds like a
that.
dope bill.
I can hear that so well in my head. So that's the first thing I think of is, can I hear this name on a bill just as naturally as any other band that I would associate with us? As far as the name itself, I wanted to pick something that was both kind of like dangerous and edgy, but then sexy too, and has sort of a duality to it. Uh, I ended up coming with a huge list of names, and I sent them to men and women that I felt was going to be our target audience. So I thought to myself, what kind of people do I want to see at our shows for the kind of music that we're making, the kind of people that Cody and I are? So I sent out a bunch of lists, and I said, pick the names that you like the most, not even just one, just any names that you like the most. Kissing Lilith was the top one, by far. I think I had 17 people who said this was it out of the probably like the 30 or 50 that I sent. And so I said, all right, Kissing Lilith. These weren't just names that I pulled out of my ass as well. I wanted to make sure that not only they had a ring to it, I wanted to make sure that it meant something. And that's what you asked is, well, what does it mean? To me, it means it comes from the fictional additional biblical character Lilith, who is like the original Eve. And I really love the idea of, we are not perfect beings. We make a lot of mistakes. I'm not a religious man. I don't follow any specific faith or anything like that. I dabble with some religious thoughts. I think that there are principles to learn from any and every religion. But I am surrounded by Christianity just living in America. And Lilith specifically as a character, looking at her and seeing who she was and the things that she did, I like the idea of we are imperfect and we're going to go against the grain. We are going to make mistakes, but we're also going to be true to who we are. And we're also going to fight for what we believe in. We're going to try to be independent, and we should love ourselves for that. We should acknowledge that. Like I said earlier, I was very mean to Aiden growing up, and I hope that he forgives me. And there's part of me that still doesn't forgive myself for that. And there were other awful things that I did growing up, and that's just a part of growing up, and that doesn't necessarily make me a bad person.
Yeah.
A bad person at the time, absolutely, but I'm trying to be better, and I
That's
try to
awesome.
see
Yeah.
that in other people too. And that's what a
Awesome.
lot of this is. The first song was about my ex. Is very angry at my ex, and I still want nothing to do with her, but I don't let that anger control my life anymore. This next song, More Than Worth It, it's about being angry, more specifically at the lead singer of Ghost Addict, but then at other people too who cast me aside and said that I wasn't good enough and my ideas, my creativity wasn't good enough. It's being angry at that too, and I'm still getting over to that at some extent. Not with anyone specific, but just in general, the whole feeling. I'm still working through that. The next song that we're working on, we have the lyrics in workshop. I have to go over them with Cody, but the the gist of the chorus is, um, I'm not a better man because I understand that I'm the problem in my life. The thing that's
Deep.
killing me is the uncertainty of how I'll overcome this self-destruction.
I love that. Yeah,
That,
that's awesome.
yeah, yeah, because I I don't have the answers to most anything. I'm really just flying by the seat of my pants. I've been doing that this entire year, since I restarted my life, moved to this new area, met new friends, started the new band, everything. I've really just been flying by the seat of my pants and just trusting myself to make as many mistakes as possible, but trying to be aware enough that I'm not affecting anyone other than myself. And it's very, very difficult to do. And I haven't done it perfectly, but I'm I'm trying my best, and that's really what I want this band to inspire others to do, is to take those risks, make those mistakes, and just try your best to
Yeah.
improve. You know, I think one of the biggest issues right now, in the world, not even just in America, but in the world, is a lot of us go to work, come home, and then just kind of wallow in TV, in social media, in pornography, and ourself. You know, and then we just go to sleep and then go back to work. We have some kind of vice, whether it's alcohol or sex or drugs or whatever it is, but we just kind of live on this autopilot, and it's really just stunted us as a society.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's fucking beautiful. That's a beautiful way to a beautiful name and a beautiful meaning behind the name.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a lot, and if I'm ever coming off as too pretentious at any point, please let me know.
Oh no, not at all, not at all. What
That's one
about
thing I always worry about.
I feel like every humble and not egotistical vocalist or just a person in general will always feel that way when they're ever talking about either their feelings or there's just something about themselves. I feel because I feel that same way when if I'm trying to like tell my friends like if something exciting happens within my band or with the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm like I always feel like there's part of me like do they think I'm annoying because this is all I talk about?
Yeah,
So I
I get it.
completely understand.
Thank you.
Cody, what about you? What is the name of the band mean for you?
It means that Gavin picked a really cool name.
And the yin and yang continues.
So that personally, the name of the band meant very little to me because that's not how I operate. He could have named it anything, and as long as to me, if it sounds interesting, like if it grabbed my attention, that's enough. And a big reason for that is like the bands that I grew up on, all their names were nonsense. Who cares what they were called? Like Led Zeppelin. But the story behind that one's a really good one. Obviously, it's because Keith Moon from the Who was like, "You guys are gonna crash like a Led Zeppelin," and I'm like, "Okay, that's pretty cool. That's a good jab at him."
Yeah.
But I leave that to him. He has those strengths when it comes to creativity, and whenever he comes up with an idea, I don't overthink it. Like a lot of the times he'll pitch something to me and I'll take it like 15 seconds and be like, good idea, bad idea.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
I love the trust you guys have. That's a very rare thing to have within not just a band, but just between people.
He has strengths that I don't have, and I can acknowledge that. I hate when people want to take over every aspect of a project, and I've worked with people like that in the past. I have myself been like that in the past. I know what my strengths are, and they are being the musician and then being the voice of reason and being analytical. So for me, I'm a very gray person. So for me, emotions are weird for me. Like in a sense, I'm very transactional with things, and I don't mean that to sound callous. It's just how I am. I'm very logical. So when he comes to me with like an emotional topic, I'm like, Gavin, truth be told, I don't understand it because to me it's I am very calculated on everything I do. So when he comes to me with that, I can be empathetic in how he feels, but I truthfully cannot relate to a lot of that, which has always been a struggle of mine because that's just how I'm wired. It doesn't mean that I don't appreciate it, and it doesn't mean that I don't respect any of these emotional jests that he has towards the project. But for me, the most important thing in everything is just making sure that the productivity is there and that contextually it makes sense, which is why music was always second nature to me. When I can sit down and compose, I know it's good because on paper it makes sense.
Yeah.
Which is where a lot of that business mentality comes from, and I like to bury myself in learning things. Like Gavin said earlier, I like to learn about how the law works and how other things function. It's just, the analytical side of the brain comes. So the band to me means more to me that it means something to Gavin, because I love and respect Gavin. He's like a brother I never had, and I love my actual brother. Bryce is awesome, but Bryce was always very like fine arts artistic, and I was always music, so we didn't bond over things like this, whereas Gavin and I have that, and the polarity between us is what keeps pushing this band in the right direction. especially
yeah.
since he has an affinity for marketing, which I just do not have. I understand it, I can explain it, but for me, I'm not nearly as charismatic as he is. So for me to say something, people are going to be like, he's pitching me an idea. Whereas Gavin says something and it's like, no, I'm team Gavin. I mean, and it's ultimately the truth. He has a personality I will never have. So if it means something to Gavin, then it's important to me.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
And I think that's where the trust really comes and builds from, because I also know that I understand how Cody is wired to some extent, and I picked that up, from like when we first met each other and when we really started talking and working together. So for me, it's extremely easy to take criticism from him, because even if he's telling me, "Hey, this is bad," like if he just flat said, "Yeah, this is bad," I don't take it personally at all, because I know it's coming from a yes or no mindset. It's very I can remove my emotion from from his answers, because I know it's never a personal attack. It's never him saying, "Hey, you're untalented. Hey, you're dog shit." It's never that. It's saying, "Hey, this needs worked on. We need to go in a different direction. This needs change, because this just doesn't work. It
Oh,
doesn't make sense." And that's kind of that's where a lot of the trust comes from. I trust him to be very blunt and honest with me, not out of malice, but just out of truth.
yeah, and
And then
especially in music, I feel like you definitely need that because that's the only way one you grow as a musician, and that's
yeah,
the way you make sure that the whatever you're making or creating is the very best it could be.
yeah, yeah. Well, and there are times too where, like, I get super excited at an opportunity and I just want to jump on it. And I need Cody there to say, "Hey, wait,
Bring it back
let's
then
do a
to
little more research first. Let's make sure that this is, what it is and not just smoke and mirrors."
oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So Cody, you say you like to write down a lot of the things when you're thinking of ideas. When you start writing your guitar riff, do you typically start writing them down first, or is it something you're like diddling on the guitar? How do you go through that process?
It just depends. It really will just depend on what I'm doing. There are sometimes it doesn't even have anything to do with guitar. I could be playing piano or a different instrument, or I could just be humming. And if a melody makes sense or if a chord progression makes sense, then I'll move from there. A lot of the songs that I've written in the past, the chord progression came from when I was playing like a jazz tune on piano. Or there's one song in particular that I really like called Colors by the Black Pumas. And I was learning the arrangement on piano. And I'm like, this is really cool. So I took it apart and I analyzed it and I put it on sheet music. And I'm like, why does this sound so cool? And then out of that, I got inspired to write something on piano. And then I translated it to guitar. And it is what is going to be song number 4.
Oh yeah, that's fucking badass. How many instruments do you play?
Um, oh, yeah. Guitar, bass, which, whatever. Piano, mandolin, violin. Um, I guess you could say hammer dulcimer,
Oh
like
yeah,
in theory, but I'm not any good. I'm not extremely proficient in a lot of them, but to be able to use them in context when composing, I can at least sit down with them and be like, okay, this is the sound I'm hearing. I can translate it. Unfortunately, I was never gifted with any brass or woodwind instruments. Just never clicked, which is kind of weird because they're all monophonic. You would think that they would click, but they don't. But I like to be able to take all these different voicings and then translate them into the music that we play. Which, funny enough, I don't play recreationally. I never play metal, like
really?
ever. It's not that I don't like metal. It's that when I'm learning songs that pique my interest or stimulate me enough, a lot of it's jazz. And like the last song I was learning was Otanoke by Creepy Nuts, which is the opener for the anime Dantedan.
That's a great song.
It's a fantastic arrangement, and
Yeah.
it show's fantastic, but the arrangement is just incredible. And I loved it so much I had to do a cover video of it. And when I was learning it, I'm like, this is such clever voice leading in these chords. And if you aren't a musician, you're not going to appreciate it. But just the chords that they chose to lead up to the chorus, I'm like, that is so well written that if you are a musician, you have no reason to not pay attention to writing like this. So I listen to a lot of anime intros. There's another one.
Yeah, I love the Passover chords that they do in anime songs.
It always
the-
leads back to the diminished.
Yeah.
Which it's such a powerful move, because in Western music, we don't see a lot of that. In Western music, it's really just the pop music. You know,
Yeah.
it's the 1-4-5s, it's the 2-5-1s, it's the 1-4-6-2s, like it, whatever. And those are great arrangements. I have nothing against that, but I've heard them so much that when I'm trying to write something different now, I want to be inspired. So this new song that we have coming out, it's all based around 9 chords, which my personally, as of now anyway, and I'm sure it'll change, but as of now, I love the voicings of 9 chords. It adds this sense of dreariness in a sense. And the way that it's translated into this new song that we're writing, it's opening up a different avenue for his vocal melody to travel. So that's just, I'm always thinking about everything, and then I have to put it on paper at some point and be like, okay, contextually this will make sense. Like I'll send him songs that I've written, and then on guitar I'll put the vocal melody, and I'll be like, it doesn't have to be this, but this is where my brain is going right now, and this is a voice leading that I think would be really strong. It's a good starting point. Lots of Phrygian dominant leads that I like to do for vocal melodies. So whenever I write a song, the biggest thing that I have in mind now as far as a composer is, what is my arrangement doing to make sure that the vocal is doing something melodically interesting, which is very different from how I wrote in the past, where it was like, I want to write a riff, really, really cool riff, and it's going to be great. Everyone's going to love it. Everyone's going to think I'm the greatest guitar player ever. But that's not who I am as a writer anymore. Now I could honestly care less if anybody even knows that I'm playing the guitar. It comes down to, I need to make sure that this song is doing something. And when people listen to it, they're not going to sit there and be like, oh, this is cool. I need them to sit there and be like, I get it.
Oh yeah, that's fucking dope. I
Fun.
love how analytical you are with it, because not many musicians that I've worked with have been like that. It's a lot of times it's always just been like, hey, let's just jam for the next 3 hours and see what comes out of it, and then we'll go back through and work and get all like the nitpicking out. But I love how it's you hear it and you're able to just flesh it out like that. I wish I could do something like that.
It takes a lot of time though. It's not like it happens in a day. Like there are songs, Corey, I will be sitting on for months. I'll hear something and then I'll be stuck on it and be like, I'm not moving forward with this until I know where the voice leading needs to go.
Okay.
There's the song that I'm writing for the Tim Misney thing right now is a great example. I've had it for years. And it wasn't until I relearned Tom Sawyer by Rush and really picked apart that song and found chord voicings that I liked. Now there's a chance for me to use more suspended 2 chords in an arrangement. I'm like, that's what I needed. That is just enough tension to where now the vocal line has something to do, instead of it just being your typical major and minor chords here and there, and it's the same melody you've ever heard. It's like, now there's a cool texture where Gavin can really shine, and he doesn't really have to do anything different. That's what makes it beautiful. He doesn't have to do anything different. He can really, he could use the same cliche lines. He won't, because he's better than that, but he really could if he wanted to. And because of the chord voicings that we're using, it would sound different every single time. But I mean, in the past, I've been in bands where we've done the jam thing before, and at the time that was fine, because that was my songwriting skill level, and not dogging anybody that does that, because there are some bands that come up with fantastic songs just through jamming. But that was another big reason of why I left my last project, and now Kissing Lilith is the only project I'm in, is because when I write, I don't want it to be a jam where it's just like, okay, this is cool, and then we'll do something with it, and then nothing ever happens. For me, I need to isolate and give me a month or two. Let me sit on this. It's like writing a book. You're not gonna just throw out the rough draft and be like, this is it.
Yeah.
Because it's nothing. It's an idea, but it's not a creation yet.
That's fucking sweet. So for Gavin, for you then, for on the vocal side,
Yeah.
how do you get into that process of writing? What inspires you? Who were the artists that inspire you for like vocal tone? I know you've been working with Danny Benitez as well. So how has all that been helping you out, and has it affected your process, or has it all been staying the same?
Yeah. So First off, working with David has been really awesome. To be clear, the way that I work with him is so I did a one-on-one. It's one-on-two. There's another person there with us. So three-way vocal session. In Lakewood at the Foundry.
Hell yeah.
He was doing a behind the backstage kind of thing, and I signed up for that. And with that came a free month of his vocal lesson. I'd never been able to do false chords before. Never learned how to do false chords. Couldn't figure it out for the life of me. And within an hour, he had me doing the very basic, being able to produce that sound.
Fuck yeah.
It's actually my false chords are recorded for the first time on More Than Worth It, and
Hell yeah.
I love how they sound so much. Just really, really heavy, ballsy, in your face. They're crisp, they sound clear. They still have a long way to go. I still have a lot to learn with them, and I'm still practicing getting better with it. I just got they had their Black Friday sale, so I got a year of it. So I got that I do each day to continue to progress and work on those. But then as far as vocal influence goes, I was in a symphonic and show choir all throughout high school, so I have some sort of classical and pop training under my belts. I really love rap music. I really do enjoy doing that in the car and at karaoke. I manage a karaoke company, and so I manage a DJ company, and one of the main things we do is karaoke. So I'm always trying new genres. I sing everything from musicals to death metal now, and a lot of R&B, pop, little reggae, everything in between. Trying
Oh
out
yeah.
new voices. One of the first bands that I discovered on my own that was like one of my favorite bands that nobody ever showed me. I just stumbled upon them was Hollywood Undead. And when they started, there were six dudes in that band and they all sounded different. And I thought, I was like 14, 15 years old. I thought, oh, I need to sound exactly like them when I sing it. So I would try to imitate their voice. And by doing that, I never got perfect. I got pretty good at doing Funny Man because he's got the low voice. And then Johnny Three Tears, I got decent at that. But what I did end up doing was discovering new parts of my vocals that I would have never found before. So when I do songs like at karaoke, I do songs like Gorillaz, Clint Eastwood, and I start out, I ain't happy, I'm feeling glad I got sunshine in a bag. Finally, someone let me out of my cage. Now time for me is nothing because I'm counting no age. Like
Hell
just
yeah.
bouncing up and down like that. Or I'll do like the vocal scratches and it's like ah fuck, I can't remember the lyrics. Rhythm. My nothing's fuck it, I can't remember it right now. My mind is everywhere over the place. I'm trying to stay on track. But it was a lot of different things. So it was Hollywood Undead for a while. I listened to a lot of Bullet for My Valentine. Could never sound like him. Amazing voice, insane. But I had this habit of just trying to sound like people as much as I could. And then eventually I found my own voice during choir and during other music projects, doing my own stuff in my room and then doing this as well. And I finally figured out what is comfortable for me and then what feels like me. And that's somewhere in between. I would say it's somewhere in between sounding like David Draymond and somewhere in between David Draymond and Limp Bizkit, probably,
Fuck yeah.
is where I think my voice is most comfortably at, and where I found I really enjoy singing for this specific genre. I know that Jonathan Davis has always been a very big influence of mine, just stage presence alone. I've always really loved the way that Korn puts on a show. They were one of the first show. They were the first big show that I saw was Korn and Five Finger Death Punch in Phoenix, Arizona
Fuck
at
yeah.
the 2010 Mayhem Festival when that was still a thing. And I remember just being blown away by the show that they put on and how he contorts his body and how he just really loses himself in the music. The lead singer of Tool is another person. I can never remember his name.
James Maynard.
Cody. Yes, James, thank you. Yeah, James, another just amazing performer who just gets really lost in the music. System of a Down. There's really when I think of their voices, I think of tortured operatics, and that's kind of where I want to lean into. But at the same time, I can't help but fall into. I can't help but fall back into the rap that I enjoy. The NWA, D12. What's the one band? I can't remember anybody right now. But just old school rap and R&B that I really enjoy, and that flow. Tech Nine, I love Tech Nine. If I was able to play a show with them, or if I could ever do a track with anybody, if I could get Tech Nine on a track, that would
That'd
be
be sweet.
insane.
That would
That'd be
really be
so
sweet.
awesome. Yeah, yeah. So it all kind of mixes together in a weird in a weird little pot that is my mind and my voice, and I enjoy the fact that I have all these different influences and these drastically different tools to use in my advantage, and that I'm trying to learn new things because I remember when I first learned how to do the false chords, I was like, oh, I want to do this all the time. They're like, it's so much fun. I'm having a blast with it. But in the back of my head, I'm all like, no, because I don't want to do it all the time. I don't want to be a band that just all the time. I scared the dog. I'm sorry, buddy. Go back to bed. Uh, I don't want to be a band that just does that all the time because it's taxing, and unless it's a very specific song, quite frankly, I think that it's boring because there's little room for dynamics
Yeah.
if you're just doing that all the time. And so I really want to challenge myself with each song, and I think of it kind of like cooking. I think of like not even just I think of each vocal technique as like a different spice.
Okay, hell yeah.
I don't want to oversalt. I don't want to add too much ginger. I don't want to add too much garlic because I'm gonna fuck up the dish. I want to add little bits here and there where it is most impactful. So when you listen to it, you might not think, "Oh my God, this is the most amazing thing that I've ever listened to," but you listen to it and think, "Oh yeah, okay."
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So when you go to write, do you already have like a topic or like a feeling in mind, or do you just go from whatever Cody sent you and then just go from there and just see what comes out of you?
So I took this from Cody's book, actually. Cody will send me, sometimes it's just one guitar track, sometimes it's 12 guitar tracks, and he'll send them to me. And especially, thank you for unplugging my laptop, Caesar. I appreciate that. Um, Sometimes when he sends me, a lot of guitar tracks, even when he just sends me one, I think the way Cody thinks, I think, yes or no, does this do it for me? Do I hear this and I think, like, do I just like, yeah, I like that. Let's do it. Come on. And if it's yes, I tell him with enthusiasm, like, oh yeah, let's do this. Absolutely. And if I'm not feeling it, I tell him like, I'm not really feeling that one. That one's not quite what I think the direction I want us to go in, and then we go from there. When I do find that, oh yeah, let's go kind of thing, I pick the rhythm. I found lately that that's been my easiest way to write is I figure out rhythms and melodies that I want to do. So I just kind of start. I imagine like the bass in Corn, and I just kind of think it as like just whatever it may be. I start to put together these rhythms and these melodies, and then I think, okay, now what does this song make me feel? Does it make me feel inspired? Does it make me feel angry? Does it make me want to scream at someone? Does it make me want to be screamed at? What about this song is speaking to me? And I try to identify that. And all this happens at the same time over the span of like a day, basically.
Okay.
So they're pretty much first impressions. I hear the song and I get all this information immediately at once because it's a very primal thing. It's a very introspective, spiritual kind of thing that I'm feeling, and I basically spend the day just trying to identify what it is and labeling what I'm feeling. So it's really understanding the emotions that I'm getting from it and my emotions that I'm putting into it. And then once I have all that figured out, so I know the rhythms, I have it. I have an idea for the rhythm. I have an idea for the melody because those are going to change when I add lyrics. But I have ideas. I have idea of the emotion. All right, now let's see what lyrics I can add into it. And then the lyrics and the message kind of write themselves together. So the fourth song we're working on, we have the third and fourth song pretty much fleshed out. We have the studio time booked for the third song already. The fourth song, I already wrote the lyrics because we had written this song. This is one of the first songs that we wrote. But Cody ended up rewriting the instrumental, a lot of it, which I'm so happy to because I really, really love the chord progression. I liked where it was, but where it is now, the first time that I heard the chord progression, I thought to myself, oh, this is a song that I'm going to write with the intention of making myself cry. This is a very emotional, painful, and healing song, and I'm very excited to write it. It's a very, very beautiful, very operatic, moving song, the instrumental that Cody wrote for it. And so I kept the first verse because it still fits. And the first verse is the same, but the meaning of the song is completely different because the song originally was again gonna be about my ex, and then saying that basically it was saying I don't apologize for leaving you. I'm what I did was a healthy thing, was pushing you away and getting away from you was healthy, and I don't apologize for that. But now the meaning of it is, I went through it. I kept that first verse. It's 3 a.m. I'm sorry again to keep you up with my bullshit. Can we please just go to bed? Just put this all to rest. I know it's my fault that all this started. That originally was me having an argument with my ex and me just giving just like, yeah, no, I know you're right. It's my fault. I'm sorry. Can we just go to bed, please? I don't want to talk about this anymore. Please, can we just be done? I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. It's my fault. You're right. That's what it originally was. And now that context, it's the same lyrics, but the context is me speaking to myself in a mirror because it's the middle of the night and I can't go to sleep because I feel like my life is going to amazing places right now. I've spent the last year trying to turn things around and just really build something that will affect me in 5, 10, 20 years from now. And for the most part, everything's going really well. And I'm so unbelievably grateful. And there's a little voice in my head saying, fuck it all up. There's a little voice in my head saying, you know what you should do? You should quit the band, cheat on your woman, and go join the military. You should just completely throw away everything and just go start a new life because why not? Because you don't deserve
to fight that.
this. This is what I do. I teeter back and forth between because I'm having all these thoughts, and these are thoughts I've had in the past, and that's what the song is about. It's me telling myself at 3 a.m., hey, you don't deserve this stuff. You haven't earned it yet. You at your core as a person are not worthy of these things in this life. And then it's the duality of me saying, well, no, because these things have happened gradually and over time because I've recognized what I've done and I've recognized my behavior in the past where I did have a history of cheating. I did have a history of lying and being self-destructive, and I need to fight against that because I do deserve to have good things if I work for them. And I do believe I have been working for them. And I do believe that I'm trying my best and learning from those mistakes to become a person that is not only productive to myself, but to those around me. And that's why I have these opportunities opening up to me. And I kind of teeter back and forth with this inner struggle uh, of not being good enough. And so I bring myself down to where I want to self-destruct, to then having to build myself back up to, no, I am good enough. I am able to do this. This is okay. I am worth love and respect and progress and a happy life. But then I worry that I get too high on that. And I worry that I become an egotistical, self-centered cunt. And I start to break myself back down again. So I don't become that person that sees the kid trying their hardest and comments, fucking loser. Give up. Why are you even trying that? Because I don't want to ever become that person. Or when I don't want to be that person, the girlfriend comes to him and says, hey, honey, I have this amazing date planned out for us. And I say, I don't fucking care. I have band shit to do. My fans are more important. I don't want to become that person. Or get off stage and I've had people waiting outside for me for 2 hours in the cold to come say hi, and I don't even look at them. I don't want to be that person. I understand there's gonna be times where I can't give an hour to each person like I'd love to, but I'd love to at least be able to say hi, shake the hand, say thank you so much for coming to the show. It really does mean the world to me that you're here. And so I'll break myself back down so that way I try not to get there. I try to keep myself in check, but what I end up doing is I end up overdoing it, and then I'm back low again thinking, no, I don't deserve any of this. So it's a very it's there's scales that I haven't figured out how to properly balance, but I'm really trying everything that I can to figure that out. And I don't want to say I'm sorry because there's no one to apologize to other than myself. But even now saying that, I feel weird apologizing to myself if I fuck that up and don't do that correctly.
See,
So that's what that song's about. That's what that fourth song is going to be about.
That's amazing. I always I feel like there's a good thing that of like a therapy that comes to just saying those things to yourself. Like, because with my
Yeah.
wife, I always tell her like if something's going on with her and she's like not feeling like she's worth it or feeling like she's like good enough or she's tired and feeling burnt out, I'm like, I don't care how cringy you feel, I don't care how weird it sounds, but you're gonna say this shit with me and you're not gonna stop saying it until I feel that you mean what you're saying. And so I'll
Yeah.
force her to repeat it over and over again until I feel like she's actually meaning it. And I love that you do that, because it's a good therapy way to just to what's the word that I'm regulate yourself.
Yeah.
A very healthy
Yeah.
way to regulate yourself.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I just acknowledge it as I just try to step back and acknowledge it as cycles. You know, the cycles like the moon, and there are going to be times where I think very highly of myself, and I might need to take it back a bit. And there are times when I'm going to think very lowly of myself, and I need to acknowledge the accomplishments that I've made.
Oh yeah, that's fucking awesome. So with we talked about a little bit about your fire abilities. How'd that start? What got you into that? How'd you learn how to breathe fire?
Yeah, yeah. So, that's actually a really cool story. So when I think it's the first time I'm actually saying this story that's being published. I've told a lot of people like in private or like at like special events, things like so. I've done fire breathing for like grad parties and like weddings and stuff like that. Like I've gotten to get paid to do this, which is amazing. When I was either 15 or 16, I can't remember how old I was exactly. I want to say 15. I was in a bonfire accident where it had rained the night prior, and I went to make a bonfire. The neighbors were having a party for the Browns game. They did every Sunday. I don't care much about sports. I enjoyed playing them, never cared to watch them, but I enjoyed the food. I enjoyed listening to music with people and hanging out. And I was trying to make the bonfire, and all the wood was wet. So I started a little fire, and then I poured what I thought was oil on it, and it was actually gasoline, and it went up to the tube, and thankfully it melted it shut. There's a safety plastic with a very low melting point, but I
I
threw the
didn't know they
tank
did that.
before.
That's cool.
Yeah, it doesn't always work. But the flame started to go up to the gasoline, or up the gasoline to the can, and I threw it, and it splashed my face and my chest, and I had nearly third-degree burns on my face and chest. I had an Iron Maiden
Ooh.
shirt that got melted to me. I stopped,
Ow.
dropped, and rolled, and my neighbor, he jumped on top of me and he beat the flame out, and I had to go to the hospital, and I was bandaged up. I ended up not going to Arizona that summer because I didn't want my birth father to find out, because I was scared of what he was going to do to my mother. Not like physically, because he lives across the country, but like legally what he was going to do,
Oh
because they
yeah.
were still going through court cases and custody battles and everything. And so I ended up having to basically just live in my grandmother's basement for a whole summer while I healed up and everything. I had all these ointments to put on, and it was just so awful. My face and my skin looked like Kentucky Fried Chicken, and if I couldn't get any sun for a year, I'd have permanent scarring. But because of this, I had PTSD. So I couldn't be around, I couldn't smell any fuels. It would freak me out. I couldn't be around large fires. I was basically Frankenstein's monster. And I thought to myself, you know, I want to be able to drive one day. We live in Ohio. Bonfires are a huge part of Ohioan culture, which is a weird thing to say. But it's a
It's
big
true
thing
though.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's true.
and I want to be able to go to bonfires with friends. And I remember watching a movie with my mother and my stepfather, and there was a fire tornado in it. It was some weather movie, and a guy got sucked up into it, and he's burning alive in this fire tornado. And I remember just shaking on the couch, just trying not everything within me to not stop, drop, and roll, because I'm having a fucking panic attack. I'm having a PTSD attack right now. And I'm thinking about how awful this is, and I don't want to live my life like this. And I see someone online doing fire eating, and I think, fuck that guy, I can do that. And so I went and I researched what the fuel that they used was. And I went on Amazon, I got some really cheap torches, and I went in the garage. I didn't tell anybody. I went in the garage and I thought, all right, I'm either going to learn a new trick and overcome this PTSD, or I'm going to kill myself in my parents' garage right now and burn down half the neighborhood. Um, and here I am today. Yeah, I was able to overcome it, and I just started very small with just setting the palm of my hand on fire and extinguishing the flame. And then within probably an hour and a half, 2 hours, I was eating the flame. And then I really started to get into it. I met some other fire performers and they started giving me tips. And next thing you know, I'm getting paid at grad shows to blow 10-foot flames in front of 18-year-olds, or I'm on stage with my bass on fire, blowing shit into the crowd. Like
I remember the
it's
first
really
time
awesome.
I heard that you blew fire, I was like, "There's no way this man's about to do this midge set." And then next thing I know is I see is you get handed a Jack, like it looked like a Jack Daniels bottle. I'm like, what is happening? And then I saw the torches. I'm like, oh, this motherfucker's about to do this shit. And then I just see you start doing like the cool. I'm like, this is the most badass fucking shit I've ever fucking seen. What
Well,
is
I did
the?
it at what was it? It was like it wasn't the Foundry. Was it the Winchester? I did the Winchester
You did it
the one
you know,
time, and they
I
were
think the first time I saw
pissed.
you do it was outside of that like that basement venue.
Outside the basement venue.
It was you were at someone's house.
Oh, yes. Adrenaline.
Yes.
They have home venues outside there. Yeah, yeah. The first time I ever did it for a concert, though, it was one of the Cleveland look. It wasn't the Winchester. That was the second time I did it. It was another venue that I did. It was our Christmas show that we were doing, and they were pissed. They were pissed at the Winchester too. But like, they came on stage and they're like, "Hey, don't do that ever again." They were not happy about that.
How much
But
how
it
much
was
stuff have you
memorable.
caught on fire? Yeah, exactly. That's I remember I still have all the videos too. I'm like whenever I have to like if I have to explain someone who Gavin is, I'm like, oh, you're gonna love him for one, and then I go straight to all the fire breathing videos. Like this man is a badass motherfucker.
Thanks. Thank you, man. I really do appreciate that.
So
I just
so
want to make an experience.
in the whole process of learning that, how much stuff have you caught on fire?
Um, Not much.
Oh,
Not
that's
much.
awesome.
I've actually so other objects like accidentally catch them on fire. The ground a couple times, like concrete for just a second, and then it goes out. And then at the one show, I used the wrong fuel for the fire eating, and so I did catch my chin on fire for maybe a couple seconds.
I was about to ask that. Have you ever caught the facial hair on fire?
Yeah, just very, very slight. I went to CVS after the show and just got some burn ointments, but it was no worse than like a kitchen burn, like if you
That's
grab
good,
a
yeah.
hot pot, it really wasn't anything. And then one time I was trying to learn, there's a trick where you put your fingers like this and you blow out. I don't know how to do the technique, but it shoots a flame in either direction. There's this one kid I went to high school with, Billy. I saw him do it, and I just couldn't figure out for the life of me. And the
That's
first time
badass
that
as
I
fuck,
tried,
yeah.
First time I tried doing it, I set my whole hand on fire. And I was all like, fuck that, never doing that again. I wasn't burned or anything, it just scared me.
What's the
Yeah.
fuel that you use for it?
So for fleshing, which is setting parts of my body on fire, I either use, if I'm doing the bubbles, then it's butane with water and dish soap, which by the way, if you're listening to this right now, do not do any of this unless you're a professional or with a professional. I'm not responsible for anything or anyone who gets injured while playing with fire at home.
Welcome
All
to Jackass.
down, 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 down. Cody's like, that was not those weren't the notes, Gavin. You were so off.
Those are exactly the notes that I wanted you.
Yep.
It's
But,
fucking fiction.
yeah. But this is all stuff that you can just look up online with like a fucking Google search stuff. But seriously, don't try this at home unless you're with a professional or have the proper safety equipment. And then so for flushing, yeah, so I'll do that with the bubbles, or I will use Coleman's lighter fuel. I'll use that not for breathing, but for like the flushing, and then like so basically I'll dip the torch in it, I'll run it on my arm, and then my arm will be on fire for a second. Or for the breathing, I will use a lamp oil.
Okay.
I use a specific lamp oil that I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's a cleaner burning lamp oil. You should also not drink it. It's toxic. Don't do it. It's not good. It kind of makes your mouth feel like chemical cilantro.
What's the taste like? How do you get past that?
Chemical cilantro. That's really how it tastes. It cleans your palate
Okay.
in like a bleach kind of way.
Okay, so like good to take before you go to a restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really doesn't taste like much of anything. You just kind of you feel like your mouth was cleaned involuntarily. I guess is a very PG way to say it.
Now, is there like a special way you have to like spit it out for the breathing?
Yeah, just vaporize it as much as possible. The cool thing about the lamp oil is that it won't ignite unless it's vaporized or has a
Okay.
wick. So
okay,
if
gotcha.
yeah, and that's why I use it for the breathing and the eating as well. So if I have my face covered in it and I go to eat it, it's not going to ignite my face. Like that's what happened with the Coleman's lighter fuel. It ignited my face because I was breathing it and then I started eating it, and it was all like saturation. And I was like, fuck, but it still looked cool.
Oh, that would hurt so bad.
Yeah.
I'd be, I'm, I had when I was in the army, I had a truck catch on fire in my lap pretty much.
Oh,
So
cool.
not that I'm not scared of fire in a sense, but I would like anything, if it gets too close, I'm like, get away, just go. No,
No,
keep
I
going.
mean that makes sense. Like I'm not some fearless badass. I mean, by any means, it's fire. While I'm not necessarily afraid of it when I'm using it, it's because I respect it and I understand that it can still hurt me. It's like playing with a wild animal.
Yeah,
You know?
but the control you have is insane.
I mean, it's may compared to like some of the people who are like just like very like local and around here that don't do it very often because I don't practice it nearly as much as I should. I practice it enough to get very comfortable with it, but I don't know any advanced techniques. But I do really appreciate the compliment. But it's really just
Quit
it's
being humble.
understanding it's just understanding the thermal dynamics. There's a thing called thermal lag, which is the amount of time that it takes for energy to transfer from one object to another object, which
Okay.
all fire is just energy. It's just a ball of energy. So you have like half a second to 1 second of thermal lag naturally, and then you have moisture in your skin or your mouth that gives you another like half a second, 2 seconds, depending on where it is, and then you also have the temperature around you. So there's a lot of factors. So in reality, you have like 2 to 4 seconds before you actually get burned. 2 to 4 seconds when you're set on fire is a long fucking time. That's a crazy amount of time. And then you can also build a tolerance to it as well. Like when you're doing certain grabs or transfers, you do it enough times, your skin gets used to it. You start to build calluses essentially. So you might add on like an extra half a second after a while.
That's dope as fuck.
It's fun. It's really
Yes.
cool, and I'm very grateful to know how to do it.
That's yeah. I wish I had the balls enough to attempt to learn.
Oh, I'm happy to teach you the very basics that I started with.
Oh, dude, that'd be so much fun to do.
Yeah,
I'd be so down.
Super easy, barely an inconvenience. For those who know, they know. But yeah, I mean, I've taught a lot of friends and family. I think the youngest person I've taught how to do like the very basics of it, I think was 7 years old.
Oh, that's fucking sweet.
Yeah. So the
7-year-old
first,
breathing fire, hell yeah.
yeah, I mean, the first thing that I learned was learning how to trust the flame, which is I took the torch, held out a flat palm, and then I just put it down on my hand to catch the palm on fire. And if it's too hot, you close your hand, or you just keep your hand open and it goes out on its own. And when you let it go out on its own, that's the best way to get comfortable with it because you feel the energy, you feel the heat, but it never actually burns you because it dies before it does.
Okay.
And the next thing I have a person do is just extinguish the flame, which is a specific way you have to grab it so that way it doesn't reignite. Yeah.
That's
Baby
insane.
steps.
Yeah. So what's the next steps then for Kiss and Lilith? When do you guys plan on doing shows?
I've been talking a lot.
What is?
I was pointing at you. I've been talking a lot.
I believe on the screen because you're
Yeah.
like, oh, whatever.
Am I not above you right now?
No,
It's different
Oh,
for
you're
every
not the top
screen.
right now, Gavin.
So everyone thinks I was just pointing at my crotch. Crazy.
Crazy.
That's the next step. It's my
But-
bollocks.
Hell
Mhm.
yeah.
Every
Yeah.
single time. No, so the next step, so we're in the studio in February. That thing's gonna get wrapped up super fast. We
yeah.
have Bradley Knapp doing drums on that one again. I think he's just gonna send the engineer MIDI drums. So for 3 days, Gavin and I are just in there, guitar, bass, and vocals. For 3 days. I mean, this thing's it's gonna be a wrap. It's gonna be done as soon as we're done recording, I swear.
I'm
Once
so excited.
it's gonna be a good one, man. It's a heavy riff. We've got a concept for what we want to do for the photo shoot and the single cover. That's
Is that what
probably
you guys been teasing on social media?
no, not on this one.
No, that's
Oh,
a different one. So I try to come up with photo shoot ideas every like other month or so. I think
Hell
it's
yeah.
important to have that.
Hell
That
yeah,
is
that's sweet. Yeah.
fun. It's just fun to do photo shoots, man. It was always a bummer, like playing in other bands where they don't want to do that. I'm like, but that's part of the creativity.
Yeah.
I love photo shoots. I
Yeah.
think they're so much fun. That personal preference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think each one that we've done has gotten much more creative and also just a lot more. I think it's much more fun with each photo shoot we've done.
I think
I was thinking it's a great way to liberate yourself creatively as a band. Like we changed our image and we've done that through the photo shoots.
Yeah.
You know, we aren't doing the suits anymore. Now we're doing sort of this I guess like Japanese inspired, yeah.
Okay.
I would say so. It's got a
Korean inspired maybe.
little tactical influence. It's Eastern influence. So like when you see
Got
like K-pop bands and you see like Japanese bands, they're wearing like tactical gear and they're wearing stuff like Gavin has right now, if you can see. It's showy, it's fun, it's got a bunch of different
Take
layers
it
to
off.
it. He
And
will.
it reads so well.
But it's fun because when you go and see a band, I don't like when bands just show up in jeans and a flannel and a band t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
that's great, but I'm not gonna lie, like if I see that, it doesn't scream I'm taking the entertainment side of this
Seriously.
seriously.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you see like bigger bands, like I shouldn't say bigger bands, that's not fair. But when I see bands that I want to go and see, like in this moment, for instance, it's just the story's already over.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I mean, they've been doing the same. They have, in this moment, has played the same show, the same set list for years now, and it's still an amazing show to see because visually, it is so unbelievable to watch.
They
It
played
doesn't
it.
matter they're playing the same songs in the same order.
They played at Ink 2 years ago, right? Or was it last year? They
I don't
played
know.
at Ink.
might have been it wasn't last year, but regardless,
So I was gonna say because I remember I never knew of them until I saw them at Ink. 'Cause I just can't remember
Yeah.
which year it was at Ink, and they
Yeah.
blew me away visually.
Oh yeah, fantastic. Yeah, they just played with they played in 2021 with Slipknot here in Cleveland, and I went to see that. I didn't even know that they were on the bill. I went to go see Slipknot, and as soon as I got it, I heard them play. I was like, oh fuck yeah!
Hell yeah.
Because one, I really enjoy their music, but two, I love their show visually. It's so awesome to see the
It's so
costumes, the
compelling.
outfits.
Yeah.
It's so compelling. The first time I saw them was when Sonic Temple was still Rock on the Range, and I've never heard of these guys before. And they were on main stage, and we were waiting because we were waiting for Trivium to go on because I'm a huge Trivium fan. And we went over to main stage. I'm like, sure, let's check it out. And like, I as soon as I heard them say the band name, I'm like, whatever. It's probably just gonna be some cliche showy band. And they go on. I'm like, oh wow, like this.
Yeah.
It was a game changer.
Hell yeah.
They are doing everything right. The music is great, but it's not too complicated to where like it's going to push people away. Like people that listen to pop music, if they listen to In This Moment, they're going to be like, this is awesome. And it is heavy. I don't care what the gatekeepers or the tastemakers say. They are heavy, dude. It is
Yeah.
great riffs. The drums are killer. I mean, when you hear their drummer, who's just insane, when he does his fills, it drops you, dude. Like you're here and it like kicks you to the ground. It's so good. And that to me is like that's the standard.
Fuck yeah.
You want these shows to feel like that, but on a local scale.
Yes.
So leading back to what we were saying about what the next steps for the band are, after the single is done, Gavin and I are going to finish 2 more songs, not including the Tim Misney thing, because that's just
That's a bonus. Yeah.
yeah, that's a bonus. So
That is.
once we get 5 songs done, recorded, and we are happy where the band, as far as trajectory is gone. Once we're happy with that, we're going to hold auditions and then find the other 2 members that have the same level of passion and professionalism and get this thing rolling. And that, unfortunately, it's probably going to take a while because the one thing I'm not willing to sacrifice is musical chops.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've done that in the past. I've made compromises. With this project, I cannot make compromises anymore. I need the players to be top notch. I need them to be on board with the image. I need them to be on board with the mission statement of this band. And ultimately, of course, we want it to be fun. Like that's the whole purpose of being in a band and being an artist is we want it to be fun. But I need everybody to be, top tier. Like I've toured in the past. Gavin has a really good reputation around, Northeast Ohio as well. I'm at the point where I don't want to take a step back and just play with bar guys anymore.
Do you guys have like a plan or like a time frame that you guys plan to be getting to that point or?
Realistic,
Yes.
probably midsummer.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so right now we're trying to release songs every 6 to 8 weeks is what we're looking at. That's like the goal anyway. It might be a little bit longer, it might be a little shorter depending on how these next few songs go. We do have the next song already booked with Scooter Allen, Rewire Studios. Very excited to work with him. I haven't worked with him since I was in Dying Desolation. I remember when I went into the studio, working with him just took my vocal performance to a whole new level because he was able to uh work with us and talk about things vocally and mechanically that I just never had anyone to talk with before.
Yeah, I love Scooter
So
Allen. I have the plugin I use for my vocals live is one that he's got a like a signature preset on.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely amazing. So we're gonna go with him, and then after him, our next single, we're gonna go hang out with Billy Morris in his studio and check out what he's got going on there. Very excited about that.
Yeah.
It's really amazing opportunities, but we're making sure that every day we're doing something, whether we're scheduling interviews or we're scheduling studio time or we're scheduling time to get together and write, or we're doing batch content where we'll spend a couple hours in a day just shooting the next content for, 2 weeks to a month. So that way we don't have to do that again. I don't have to think, oh shit, what am I going to post today? Oh, it's already done. Right. I'll just clip this and put this on social media.
That's
Done
fucking
and
awesome.
done.
I need to start getting better with that because I am the worst at doing. I want to do stuff like that where you're making
Yeah.
those batch contents, but I'm the worst at getting.
Game changer, dude.
Yeah,
Game changer.
I've been trying my hardest to get my band on the same. We're so close to it. It's just travel. Our band's so far apart travel wise. We
Yeah.
haven't. Yeah.
Just
But
get together for one day.
Awesome that you guys are able to do that.
Don't
'Cause
overcomplicate
that's
it. Just
key.
think really simple.
That's key.
Think
And
really
that's
simple
very
videos.
key with social media nowadays. And I wish,
Yeah.
part of me wishes it was still in like the old school ways where all you had to do is just put posters around town and hopefully people show up at the local venue.
Yeah, I did that once.
Even that wasn't enough back in the day, man. There's always been layers to how you need to promote and market a band.
Yeah.
And, with the day and age of social media, if you're not utilizing the tools that are there, you're already at a huge disadvantage. And it's very easy just to post literally anything. Anything that you can get out there is traction. But I will say that was the greatest thing that Gavin and I ever agreed on from the beginning of this project was we were both on board. It's very important to have your online presence and to have an online personality and to be able to show, your fan base that this is the real deal. This is what's actually happening. And the only way people can find out about your band and about your music is by marketing. And it's the same thing with any industry.
Yeah.
If you're a tattoo artist, if you have a hair salon, if you have any consumer-based business, that's great if you have a great product, but how are you going to pitch it if people don't know that you exist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are so many bands out there, man. I mean, there's so many. And some of them have zero business being a band. When you come from a business perspective, that's not fair to say. Everybody should be able to be expressive. But you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, I get your point.
There are some guys out there that have no idea what they're doing, but they're putting enough material out there to market to be able to get people in the door.
Yeah.
Really quick, I've been trying to stay off my phone, but this just popped up. We just got a message. I don't know if it's a message or a comment, but I got to check. But I just want to share because it's just so awesome that we have people reaching out to us right now. DNGR official said, "Hey, I love your music. I've been listening to the new single a lot. I make music too. It's quite wild. I was wondering if I could get you to check it out. Also, I was wondering what strategies you have on getting big." And that's like that right there. I love that so much because we've had other musicians reach out to us saying, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" And I love that because one, that tells me that we're doing something right.
I can definitely agree to that because you when I saw you guys like take off and when you did the skydiving video, I was like,
oh, that was so much fun.
I was like, all right, I need to get my ass in gear. I'm like, Gavin is kicking ass, and it's been a massive like boost in my like fire into my belly to get better at it and just start doing more because I love your guys' videos. They're fucking awesome.
And the thing about our videos is that they're very genuine. That's just Gavin. And that's pretty much what we're pitching with this brand is that we're not selling anything that's fake. Yeah. That's him, dude. He's this ADHD maniac that just loves to do stuff. He's got all the energy in the world. So there's
so much fucking energy.
So much.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That's the thing that's really special about this project is that we are not pitching anything fake. This is it. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's Gavin. This is me. We love what we're doing. The outfits we love doing. I pitched the suits, which everyone is shocked with. Like, what? You? I'm like, yeah, dude, I love wearing a suit. You look good in a suit.
Yeah.
What can I say? But it's fun. It's the missing piece for music for me. That was
Yeah.
always what was missing.
No.
And anytime that I post content, it's very genuine because I just love playing guitar, dude. Like that's been my main instrument since 13. I just love playing. And the secret that when I have people reach out to me, like, what's your secret? I'm like play a lot, like do it because you like it. I always tell people, this is my golf.
Yeah.
You know, like I still have a day job. I work in finance, man. I used to work as, a recording engineer full time. And to me, that wasn't me. It was not me. I'm a very analytical person. When people come in with all these emotions and their dreams and everything, and they expect me to be able the dreams to come true, I'm like, I'm not the guy. I'm not the guy. I cannot make you better. I cannot do that. It's not a me thing.
Yeah.
So for me, music is my greatest expression because it's my hobby, dude. I come home after work, I play for 4 hours, not because I have to, because I'm one of those guys,
yeah.
I need to play for 4 hours so my skills are on point with them. It's like, no, that's not me, dude. I'm playing just stuff I want to play because I enjoy it.
Yeah, you got to keep it that way too, because as soon as you make it more of a job thing, or if it's more feels like work, the quicker you're gonna get burnt out, and the quicker you're not gonna want to do it no more.
It's not worth it, man. Like,
yeah.
It's when you look at music as I'm doing this to either do one of two things: become famous or to be able to quit my day job. You've already lost, because that to me shows you don't care about the music. You care about an ego boost every single time. For me, I would be playing music regardless. I'm always going to play music because what else do I do?
It's not what you want to do. It's a part of you. It's who you are.
Yeah, I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
I don't have to. I'm going to play music for the rest of my life, whether or not Kissing Lilith takes off or not. But it's cool that I get to have all the other creative elements because of Gavin.
Yeah. Now, do you guys ever get an anxiety when it comes to like making the social media content, or like when you're posting it? And if you do, how do you get past it?
No, I personally don't, because I'm one of those people like, this is it, man. This is me. And I am a very unapologetic person because everything I do is very intentional. And I have a lot of people that throw hate at me. And very rarely does it get to me. It got to me one time recently. And it was some old dude that was in some blues cover band. And he was ripping on me for wearing the exact same outfit he was wearing. And he's like, oh, do I get
This is the first time. This is the first time I've ever seen Cody like prideful before.
Oh, just hits me off, dude. It never hits me like that. But it's the sheer fact that you went for the lowest hanging fruit. And then when I looked this guy up, I'm like, you play covers and we're wearing the same suit.
Yeah. And so
what are you even doing?
When Cody and I first started
the
band, and I first started posting, people gave me shit a lot. You know, I got called a queer, a fag, a flamer, which with flamer caught me off guard. I was like, really? People still say that one? And I was like,
I think they're talking about the fire breathing.
Yeah, right. But I got called like a lot of names and shit like that. Because first off, Instagram is mean. If you do not find your audience and you find the wrong audience, they'll let you know that they're not your audience. Very good at that. But I just kind of let it roll over my shoulder. And Cody was like starting to like a little defensive and everything. He's like, yeah, I just really hate when people rip on you, man. And so I'm like, hey, I understand. Just don't respond to them. Sometimes I do respond to them, never with like a fuck you or anything, but like somebody commented one time, I was getting a tattoo while I was getting my this piece done right here.
Yeah.
And we were asking each other questions, and I'm getting interviewed for the band. And someone commented on there, worst acting ever, which is crazy because that means they think that I got this tattoo in real life and then went back to a tattoo shop to fake getting a tattoo for this video. Wild. But
at the tattoo shop that he and I go to all the time because my girlfriend works there with our friend Sam, who did the tattoo. Well, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
I'm like,
very weird.
Why would someone go through that much work for a video when you can do everything at one time, getting the actual tattoo while you're doing it?
Yeah, very weird. Yeah, they're all like, "Oh, that tattoo gun is too quiet." It's not. I'm like, or Sam just has very nice tattoo guns.
Or
You
Sam
know?
just has a really nice tattoo machine that costs.
Yeah,
I was like, have you not
Yeah,
gone to a
but it's a
tattoo
big
shop
amount.
that's a modern tattoo shop that's
yeah,
clean
yeah.
and good?
Yeah.
But, but
Sam's
anyway,
won
so
awards. Also, shameless plug for Sam McCartney. Hi, buddy.
yeah, Kill Streak, go check them out. If you like
Hell
video
yeah.
games and death metal, yeah, go look at them.
Hell
Or
yeah.
deathcore. I don't know what subgenre they are. I'm
I don't
sorry.
know either. I just like all of them. They're
Yeah.
our homies.
Yeah. But yeah, so someone commented on there that the acting was horrible. And so I did respond to that. I said, "Oh yeah, unfortunately, we don't." Oh, he said this is why. He said that he's seen better acting in porn. And I said, "Unfortunately, we don't have the budgeting that Brazzers has. Maybe one day I will have those top-notch Mia Khalifa acting chops."
Oh.
That's what I responded with. So I will respond to
Gold
negative
response.
comments
Gold
if I can think of
response.
something that will make me laugh without being hateful. You know, because that's one thing I never want to do. Like I've also responded to people. Some guy said that we were just garbage, is what he said, and I commented. I was like, "Thank you so much for the love and support. Everybody, go follow this guy because that's what I want to do. You know, I want to kill people with kindness,
Yeah.
or I want to come back with something witty and funny and clever and kind of backhanded that isn't." Tearing them down, that isn't insulting. You know, I really don't want to insult other people, or I really don't want to send, you know, like one day hopefully we have a mob of fans. I don't want to send them after people, you know, unless it's saying, "Hey, go love bomb this person, go follow them," is stuff like that.
Yeah.
We don't want a toxic fan base, man.
Yeah, we don't. I want to build a community more than anything.
Absolutely. And that to me is what I think most bands should strive for, man. The
Yeah.
drama thing, I don't get. I don't get the clout thing. It's like we're here to make music.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be surrounded by drama. I worked very hard to make my life very drama free and to make a very good inner circle of people that just want the best for everybody and are productive. And it does surprise me the amount of hate that we get. More praise than hate. I will say that. But the amount of hate that we get from people from just being ourselves and being productive, it always says more about the person throwing shade than it does us. But I think it's a you know a great introspective look at people in our society where it's like they are so insecure that they have to dog on guys that are genuinely being productive. Like nothing Gavin and I do it's nothing we do is unproductive.
Yeah.
So if anybody has a problem, it's like that's a you problem then, buddy, because we're always over here just hustling and making plans, and the stuff you don't see, the amount of hours that he and I just sit in. We have sat in my dining room, I don't know how many times, and just written down plans.
Yeah. So I think the last time we got together, we scheduled out like the next 3 months of calendar.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, just figuring out, okay, this is when we want to do recording, this is when we want to do photo shoots, this is when we want to try to schedule interviews, this is when we want to get together for writing songs and do content days. You know, having that schedule out ahead of time, so that way we're not scrambling at the last minute thinking, "Oh shit, I only have 3 more videos to post. We need to do a content day," which by the way, Cody, I am running out of videos. We do need to do a content day.
Okay, well, let's put in something before the 26th, because the 26th we're in the studio.
Perfect. All right, great. And then we can shoot stuff while in the studio as well.
So many ideas while we're at the studio. So we are gonna
always gotta be shooting B-roll.
Right. Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Like on my phone in my notes, anytime that I come up with an idea of something to shoot, I put it in my notes. I have a specific folder for it. So that way when we get together, we know what we're gonna shoot. And if we end up shooting all of it and we have extra time, we have other ideas to look back at.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. And as far as social anxiety goes, for me, it really is only my biggest fear is doing this and nobody sees it. It's not that everybody hates it. It's not that not enough people will love it. It's that putting in all this work and then nobody cares. I think that's the worst thing that could happen to an artist, as an artist. And for anybody who is putting their work out on social media or publishing it or anywhere that's public for people to see, if you can get one person to like it and genuinely like it, you can get 1,000 people to like it. And if you can get 1,000 people to like it, you can get 100,000 people to like it. There are that many people in the world. It really is not a matter of once you get hit a certain points of being genuine with your art and figuring out what your niche is and figuring out how to produce your art at a professional quality, whether that is scratch graffiti art or if that is writing poetry or if that's making music. once you figure out your talents and really hone in on your passion, it is just a matter of finding your audience. That's the only thing that has changed with us from the first time that I ran ads on Facebook, TikTok, and social media. We got a lot of hate on all of our platforms, and now we get a lot of love on our platforms, and it's just because we were able to figure out what our audience is and where they are and who they are, and make sure that we're catering to them and we're making connections with them. I'm so excited to reach back out to this person who messaged us, and I'm so excited that they reached out to us looking for advice, because again, that says that we're doing something right. But also, this is another connection. I don't know who this person is. This might be somebody who is way behind us right now, but in 10 years could be miles ahead of us.
Yeah.
And we build a relationship, and now I get to help watch them. I get to watch them grow, and I get to maybe play a show with them one day. That's so exciting to me. That's amazing to me. The tattoo artist who's doing the logo for, or not the logo, the shirt design for us. One day I hope to be able to be on tour, and we get a stop in his shop because we have the time, and I get to get something, even if it's something very small. I get to get something from him, and I can say, yeah, I met this dude online. We got connected, 1, 2, 3 years ago, and now we're in person this time later, and he's gonna put his permanent work on my body.
Yeah.
That's so amazing. That's so exciting to me. Like, and
Very,
I want,
very cool time in history where we can actually do that.
yeah,
The people that you meet through music, it's crazy, and I laugh about it all the time, man. Because if it wasn't for music, I would have never met Gavin. I would have never met our friend Sam. If I would have never met Sam, I would have never met my girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's all just from music.
That's awesome.
And
Yeah.
now all the people that we're meeting now, it's one big happy family, man. It is
Yeah.
the coolest time in history to be a musician.
And I gotta say, with our scene, like within the Cleveland scene that I've noticed as of late, is it's been such a, instead of it being like a competition of just putting each other down, trying to be who's the best, it's, I've seen just constant support and everyone just lifting each other up, and it's been an amazing thing to be a part of, an amazing thing to watch as well.
I think that's very heavily because the younger generation of bands are now starting to take the stage, metaphorically and literally.
Yeah.
And there's a lot less drama. I remember when I was starting out in Dying Desolation, I was 17. The other two, Gabe and Jordan, they were both 15. And then when Simon joined, it was a year later, so they were all 16. And I just turned 18. And we were playing with guys who were, early or youngest, mid-30s.
Yeah.
Most of them mid-40s, pushing 50. And it was scary sometimes. Like, it was a toxic place, where it was sex, drugs, and rock and roll in the worst aspects. It was people really fucked up beyond belief. It was dudes getting in fist fights, pissed drunk because someone slept with someone else. It was a lot of bullshit that's not only really shaped, I think, the way that we treated ourselves as a band, but also I think really killed the music scene for the longest time. Because I remember when I entered into Ghost Static, so even though they were all older than me in that band, they didn't play with any of the other bands that we played with. They didn't play with that scene, but they were similar genres, and it opened my eyes to, whoa, how big the music community actually is and the different levels of it. And we just happened to be in a place at the time that had just people that were just self-destructive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cody, how's your experience within like the scene and like the music community been so far?
That's a tough question.
Good. I can take a break.
Right now, fantastic. Everybody that I network with and work with, they're all truthfully, I would say they are truthfully national level. They just haven't had the breaking point yet.
Yeah.
But that's because we've put in a lot of work from all the bands I've been in since I was 14 years old. I don't really associate with anybody that I would say is unprofessional or is toxic, but that's because I know better now. Back when I first started, man, it was a mess, because you're getting started. That's the story of everybody. When I was first starting out and playing in metal bands, that's when Peabody's was still around.
Miss Peabody's.
Miss
Peabody's too, but I don't miss a lot of the bands that came through, man.
You guys are old.
We are old.
Gavin, we're the same age.
Are we?
Yes.
Fuck
Yeah,
me.
you just weren't there, Gavin.
All right, fine. You guys are old. I'm just lame.
Seriously. No. But a lot of the bands that would roll through that scene, it put a bad taste for music in my mouth for years to come, man, because to them it wasn't about music. And to me, it always was. You know, when I was 14 years old, the coolest thing in the world was actually learning a fucking song. Like, and I actually mean learning the whole thing. Like for me, when you hear a kid say that they wanted to learn Stairway, they learned the intro. And to me, I'm like, no, I really learned Stairway, like, because I love learning songs.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not trying to come off as I'm a virtuoso, because I'm not by any means. I'm just a guy that likes to play a lot. But for me, growing up, I always wanted to play with guys that loved music as much as I do. So like, I'll go and learn a song that's been in my ear for a month, and I will sit and just learn it because I love it and I love learning everything about it. And why does this song sound so great? What is happening that makes this sound so fantastic? And all those bands, dude, all they cared about was being on stage and getting fucked up. And I toured with metal bands when I was younger before I graduated college, and I hated it. I hated it so much. I swore off metal because of it. I'm like, this is so, like, it's ludicrous how unprofessional this is. Like, we're not making any money. We're not, which is most of the people's goal was to make money. I just wanted to play, but then I didn't get to play the stuff I wanted to. I didn't get to play solos that I thought were interesting. It was all about breakdowns. It's just about being the heaviest. And to me, I'm like, this is such a waste of time and talent and resources. So I stayed away from metal bands for the longest time, man. And then when I went to school for jazz, I'm like, this is more what I wanted to do because I was around players.
Yeah.
And I love that, because to me, the greatest thing that I get out of music is being able to use stuff that I've learned in a creative context. So for me, when I write a song for us, when I write the solo, I'm like, okay, so now I've got the basis here. What can I do with everything that I've learned recently that I can throw it into this solo so it doesn't just sound like some guy wanking? Phrasing is very important to me. But going back to the band thing, so jazz bands were cool. I loved it, but it doesn't have a huge market, and unless you're like the guy in jazz, you're not really playing great shows.
Okay.
So yeah. So when I went back into the rock bands, it was polarizing. You have some bands, and Corey, you and I have played shows together, and you know, your band was awesome, dude. You guys were super cool. Yeah, you guys were super cool to hang out with. That to me means a lot more than are they the best band in the world. I don't care about that. It's like, can I deal with them? Can we sit down and have a beer afterwards and just shoot the shit? That's awesome.
Yeah, our whole main goal is just having fun and just making a family.
It makes it's so much better to do that than to work on the other stuff, man. So I always appreciated that, but I've played with bands in the past that just have shit attitudes, and I just don't understand it. Back when the Dome was still around, we played with a band from, actually the guys from New York were fine. It was an Akron band, because for some reason there was an era of Akron bands that just, they thought that their shit just doesn't stink, man. Like Akron had a really bad attitude musically for a while. It was way too elitist for me, and they weren't even good musicians. That's the thing that always killed me. It's like, you guys suck. Like, why are you?
That is always the ones that are the most elitist ones, are the ones that aren't the elite.
I was trying not to say like what specific area, but when I was in Dying Decision starting out, not all, but a lot of that scene that was just kind of like crazy and unprofessional and toxic and just kind of ruined a lot of our experiences. It was in the Akron area.
Okay. The Akron bands, it's very hit or miss. You have some Akron bands are like, whoa, these guys are the real freaking deal. And then the other ones, you're like, my God, I bet all this guy does in his free time is just like get fucked up and then hammer his best friend's chick. Like, I mean, it's so toxic to be around. And, you know, I'm not going to name any venues, but there are certain ones in the circuits that I will not go to anymore because of the type of bands that stick around there. I'm like, I'm just wasting my time if I'm here, man. Like, I don't want to be around guys that have a bunch of meth mouth. I don't want to be around guys that have a get rich quick scheme. I don't want to be around guys who are like, bro, this is the greatest song ever, man. Like, nobody's going to top this. I'm like, your ego trip it's already disgusting me, man.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, I don't.
Is Truss from Akron?
Truss is Cleveland.
Truss is Cleveland. Okay.
Yeah. Hannah is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. No, amazing band. That's what I was going to bring up. I'm trying to think because I don't know a lot of bands where they're from, but I was trying to see if Trust was from Akron. I was trying to get some brownie points down there.
No. Time Cat is though. That's Jerry Sapernetti's band.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Jerry's awesome. I love Jerry.
Yeah.
There are a lot of really cool Akron bands, but Akron just, from my perspective, gets a bad rep because of the personality thing there. It's weird.
I feel like it
because
could be a lot of
it's
it
cool.
just from being like the college town it is.
It might be, and it's really it kind of ruins it almost because it's like cool to be bad at music there for some reason. And when you're a really good player, they ignore you. Like they're just rude to you. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
Especially I said I wasn't going to say venues, so I will not. I will bite my tongue. But
Say it.
no,
I'll give you just like the gist of my experience in Akron as like a whole, like over all the years and all the shows that I played. There was one show where I both got my life threatened with a knife by a drunk dude at a venue,
Damn.
and then later that night, a woman blew me in the parking lot. So like,
It's a roller coaster night.
yeah, that's pretty much that was pretty much just kind of how Akron was, from my experience anyway. Yeah, and that specific venue, I only played a couple venues in Akron, and they weren't all the same experience, but there was one venue that I had that experience more often than not.
My favorite venue in Akron is the Vortex. It just cracks me up that they're attached to a porn shop.
well, they used to be a strip. So.
Yeah,
okay,
they
that
did.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't miss
that's why the bathrooms there look like the way that they do, because that's why they have showers in them. Yeah.
Yep.
Makes sense. Yeah, the first time we played there, we all made a little video of us all going and walking around the porn store.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah, you got to be careful on that one, man.
Yep. Content of content.
Yeah,
Yep.
the guy that was running the store did not seem happy that we were in there.
No,
Probably not.
probably not.
He's probably not happy when anybody shows up there.
Yeah,
He looked
honestly.
so miserable, and all the people that came in just were like came in and then they were pissed and shocked that other people were in the store with them. So they're like,
Which is
trying to
weird.
hide everything they were getting. I'm like, no one
Why?
here, like no one's gonna judge you, dude. You're already at a porn store. We're all
Yeah.
buying the same shit.
Yeah. Yeah, anytime that I've ever gone into an adult store, the last thing I've ever felt is judged.
Yeah.
Because if you're the person selling sex toys, how are you going to judge me for buying sex toys? That's insane. And
You're
if
the one
you
that recommended it. How are you gonna judge me?
Yeah, and if you're the person buying a pump bottle of lubricants, how are you going to judge me for buying handcuffs and a blindfold? A pump bottle's a lot. All right.
And if we want to talk about a lot of lube,
We're not bringing Diddy into this, for the love of fucking God.
Well, no, we did a horrible left turn right there. Let's
Yeah.
I just wanted to make the joke because you brought up the pump bottle.
That's fair.
Oh, jeez.
Well, what a great way to end this. Thank you guys so much for coming on. This has been a complete blast.
It really has been. Thank you so much for having us, man. We really do appreciate
Glad
it.
that we could entertain you for the entirety of your evening.
Yeah, no, you guys have been a blast, and I would gladly love to have you guys back on anytime you
Oh,
guys
we'd
wanted
love to have you back on. Yeah, like I said, like we've said, we have a lot of stuff planned. Apparently now we're gonna enter a contest for Tim Misney, doing a song for that. We have the next two songs already ready to go, both with Scooter Allen and Billy Morris, and then we're gonna be holding open auditions after we get 5 songs put out. We just have so much shit going on. We got more. Oh, we got photo shoots that we have planned. We have merch that we got coming out and everything that I'm going to be dropping. Learning how to design. We'll be designing it myself. It's a lot that we have going on. So please stay tuned. And
Yeah, shout out where they can find you guys at.
yeah, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We don't do X. That's pretty much it right now. And then if TikTok ends up getting deleted or banned in the US, we do have Lemon 8, their new thing. I do not know how to run it yet. I've posted on it like twice and then just like, fuck this, I'll deal with it later. But TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, that's going to be the best way to get a hold of us. If you have any questions, if you just want to say hi, say that you like the music, say that the music sucks, whatever you want, reach out to us, comment on our stuff. If you share it, like, that all means the world to us. And reach out to each other as well. One of the biggest things that I want to do with this band, that we want to do with this band, is build a community. So if you are a musician and you see that we have someone that we recorded with or someone who made a design for us, reach out to them. They might be able to do something with you. They might love to work with you. At the very least, they might be able to point you in the direction of where you want to go. You know, we really want to build a community. We want to have our fans engage with each other as much as they engage with us, and it is always a pleasure to hear from you.
Fuck yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Oh, we're on YouTube and Spotify as well. Yeah, the music. That's the other important part. We make music.
I wasn't going to say
You
anything.
can listen to
You can find it, if you go to the Instagram, just click the link tree. Everything's there.
Link tree.
Link tree.
Yes.
It's all there. It's all there.
I cannot wait for you
Instagram,
guys.
link tree.
Cannot wait
Let
to
me-
hear the new music.
Let me find the exact handle really quick.
Hell yeah.
So Instagram is, I believe it's kissing_Lilith. Yes, that's all it is. And then Facebook is just kissing Lilith, and TikTok is kissing_Lilith. And then if you can't find it from there, then do _new metal band and you metal band.
Fuck yeah. Can't wait to hear the guys. Excuse me. Can't wait to hear the new music. Go follow them. And thank you guys so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
All right. I'll see you guys later.
Peace.
Later.